All right, everybody. It's Friday. We're going to have an unplanned open mic because unfortunately, Dave, the news unit's stepped away from his mic, and Dr. Spider is too busy blaspheming God and destroying the stream to be able to have a decent discussion. He can't stop interrupting people either. But we shall continue over here. I am now live, and we will see. Send me a link on Discord. Somebody says, okay. I think I can do that. The join link is in the channel. Let me go ahead and pull this up on YouTube. YouTube. All right, it's up on YouTube. So let me send this link over to the requesting people, grab my charger, and maybe I'll spend about a half hour to an hour here if people show up. If not, then I'm going to go to bed. Let me get that on Discord. What is his username? All right, we got that there. Nobody is here yet, so we will see if someone shows up. Sophia of Athens, welcome. Stefan and Illuminati Land, welcome. Yeah, I'm not going to listen to the blasphemies of Dr. Spider and whatnot. The join link, let me, oh, wait, I didn't throw that in there. Let me grab that. All right, hang on just a second, y'all. Let me drop this comment here, and I will start letting people in if they come. Give me just a second. I need to grab my charger. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Let me get myself plugged in, everybody. We'll go from there. Get you put out the way. All right. I got a busy day today, so I'm not intending to keep this going all night, but we can get rocking and rolling for maybe an hour or so. I don't have any planned topics, so let me get to the backstage now that I'm back and see what we got rolling. Yeah, pin that. Okay, good. Oh, there he is. Hello. Is it Sparkle? Sparkle, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I had to change something. I'm here.
Servant of Christ, is that you, Jared?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Good. Yeah, I love Dave to death, and I know he walks away. It just there's a reason why I tell him put Spider in the back, because you give Spider 5 seconds and he starts singing about blasphemous things regarding Jesus. I think would even make an atheist double check on what he or look twice at what he's saying is just ridiculous.
And I love how he tries to act like Smokey. Like you can tell he tries to.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, there's only one Smokey. Okay.
Yeah, he tries to be the same as Smokey. Just passing. Good to see you. You're welcome if you want to come in. You also, by the way, just passing. You are a managing mod on this channel. Dave, the news unit, and just passing are my managing mods. So if trolls come in, you can get rid of them, and if the moderators get crazy, feel free to get rid of them, as I know how these
Yeah,
people are.
if Spider comes by, ban that guy.
Oh yeah, by all means. If Doctor Spider comes, he's going to get banned, and I'm going to kick him if he comes in here. I don't know if you can ban people yet from EV Mux. I think you can, but even if not, oh yeah, you're going to get banned. Uh, EV Mux though is a little different. Apparently, you can talk from the backstage, and I can hear you from within the backstage, but
Oh wow.
you can't hear it on stream. So it's got some cool features in that regard, I guess. What's going on, gentlemen? How are both of you?
Oh well, I just wanted to get away from all the blasphemy. That was disgusting.
Oh, dude, I can't blame you. I mean, I don't even want to repeat what that spider was saying. I want to call him something else, but I'm going to
Yeah, I
restrain
was.
myself.
I was
Yeah,
listening to him. He was like acting so disgusting. I was like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? Sorry, I
Yeah,
don't know. Can we curse on here? I'm not sure. I know there was
well,
some
I mean,
Christian.
I'm not. I'm not going to censor you horribly, but if you get out of control, I reserve the right
Yeah,
to.
no, no, no. I get that, but generally, especially on Daniel's stream, there's no cursing allowed, and
Daniel, who?
burning bushes.
Who?
I I guess you don't know him.
Yeah, I thought you might have meant Danny, as in Phil Talk Danny.
No, no, I haven't talked to that guy in forever.
Yeah, yeah. He's a different character than I guess.
But no, Spider was like, what are you doing, you idiot? Like, I get that you're
I
drunk and
know.
you're probably lonely and all that
Well,
crap, but
no, well. Again, Jill, you can curse. It's my channel, Jill. I mean, this is incredible. You are. I don't ban cursing on my
you have
channel.
the ability. The question is, should you?
Exactly. Hold up. Let me figure out where my comments are. They're not showing up in the back for whatever reason. But Jill, you were saying this here in the chat. No, you you can use coarse language here. I will allow that to a certain degree. If you dislike that, then don't go to Smokies. I don't know what else to tell you. You love Smokey. You don't tell him, oh, don't curse on this channel. Like, no, I would prefer if you didn't do it, and I try not to do it. But I'm not of the opinion that I need to police this to the nth degree.
well, let's just put it this way. Don't be a spider.
Oh yeah, if you turn into Doctor Spider, you're gone. I'm just going to see to it that this never happens at my channel because I'm just not not permitting that to happen.
Spider makes me look bad.
Well, when you got an atheist saying that, it tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Yes. And he keeps saying he's not an atheist. He's not an atheist, but
Jill,
it's like, then what the hell is he?
Jill, Midnight is a bad person. Midnight Sparkle's a bad person. So let me understand this, Jill. You want to come to my channel to tell me how to run my channel, and you want to tell me that who I should and shouldn't have on my panel. Is that how it goes, Jill?
I mean, okay, the first question I would ask is, how am I a bad person?
Yeah, I want to know that. How what makes Midnight Sparkle a bad person so bad that ostensibly I shouldn't have him on my channel? I understand that he is an atheist. I understand that he is not a Christian. But since when does that mean I shouldn't let him on my channel? Illuminati land. I learned how to cuss living in Ireland for 5 years. Yeah, I bet you did. I bet you did. I bet you learned the fine art of Irish cussing. Somebody's breathing straight into the
Oh,
mic.
sorry.
That's what I keep hearing every few seconds.
Sorry.
It's fine. Oh, hey, Dave. What's going on, Dave? Good to see you. Oh, hold on. Now you are.
Ah, There you go. Yes, good, Ryan. Early here. Um,
Nope.
woke up with a brain bashing migraine, and Spider is not what you want to hear that time of the morning when you've got a.
No, he needs some help. He's
Yeah,
got
he's
to
an
go.
interesting character. Actually, I started to get this kind of vibe from him that he suffered some kind of abuse, serious abuse at some point. I could be wrong. Maybe he's just a raving alcoholic. I don't know, but yeah, I got that kind of vibe from him.
Could be true. I don't know.
Mm.
I saw you left me a comment saying you liked my review.
I liked your what?
My review
I
yesterday.
did, yes, yes, that was very good, very, very good.
Well, good. I did it for obvious reasons because apparently some people, like James Frazier, say have a mouth that's large enough to fit 3 rows of teeth.
That's
They
a
don't
good.
think about what they say, and then they get mad that you capture what they say. How dare I report on your
So,
public statements?
so I wanted to kind of finish what I was saying
Sure.
about John Newton. What I was going to say was I looked up his soteriological belief, and
Mm-hmm. You should be a
he taught
Calvinist.
that. Well, he taught that he taught the transformative power of the Holy Spirit,
Well, yes.
and he used his example of his conversion, and he taught that you turn from sin to faith in God. So he taught that you turn from sin.
Yep. Well, yeah. He was an Orthodox Protestant by all accounts, and
Yeah,
I believe a Calvinist. So
but but
just for
but
Jill,
what I find funny,
go ahead.
sorry, what I find funny is that the Free Gracers won't like him, even though he came up with the song "Amazing Grace."
Of course. Well, they're not known for their logical consistency now, are they? I
Yeah, that's why
can't.
I don't say "Free Grace," I say "Amazing Grace."
So I just want to extend to Jill, since Jill's here, that if you would like to come in, Jill, since you're telling me how to run my channel, come on in. You're not blocked, and I won't kick you, Jill. In fact, I'll even make an exception. I won't mandate that you turn on your camera, liberal, so you can come in here and tell me why cussing isn't allowed on my channel and why Midnight Sparkle's a bad person. I'd like to know. I'd like to know. Um,
My
anyway,
my favorite quote from John Newton on his deathbed was he said that his memory is almost gone, but two things he knows for sure is that he's a great sinner and Christ is a great savior.
well, amen to that. Amen to that. But he's going to hell. Remember that, people. He's not of the free grace
I
anointing.
don't think so. I think he's heaven
Beloved.
bound for sure.
He's not of the anointed beloved. He's
I
not
mean,
of the beloved.
to go from slave ship captain to freaking pastor preacher. I think,
And an abolitionist at that, right?
yeah, I mean that's a see that's what I'm talking about, the transformative power of the Holy Spirit. That's what that does, and you have testimonies like that.
Yes, Isaac Newton was a Christian, Stefan.
Oh yes,
So,
absolutely.
Dave, I've heard you talk, by the way, Dave, about the prospect that you may do a second book. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I can talk about that. It's the thing is, the original book, which you now know as the Pathway, the Darkest Path, was going to be originally called the Pathway Conspiracy.
Right.
It was going to incorporate all of the supernatural, paranormal, and my sort of my life, earlier life, but then it was going to move on and include all of the evil people that we all know, which are now out in the open, up on your archive channel and on mine, and how all of that tied in with back to this place in the detached bastion, this Napoleonic fort in Dover, where they've performed satanic rituals since time immemorial. And the thing was, right, and I've still got all that research material on my PC somewhere, I could actually tie two of these individuals that were around that atheist, the great debate community around
Mm,
Bill, Andy, and all of these people. And his name was Chaswold Almighty. And he gave me a real hard
mm.
time about 10, 15 years ago. And he admitted that he's been in the detached bastion and he lives not 5 minutes away. But there was another individual that I actually employed back, I think it was in 2009, to actually show us around these places. And it turned out we learned very quickly that he was using Ouija boards and doing all sorts
Oh,
of
lovely.
really dark stuff. Well, this is just it. They've accused me, well, just about of everything, of being a necromancer and, more interested in, the dark arts than in the light side of it, which is untrue. The truth is, Ryan, um, me and my team, we were exposed to this stuff unaware. I was interested simply in World War II and Napoleonic historical buildings. You understand?
I
And
do. I do.
and because I spent 4 years, unable to walk, and my window on the world was a computer, and it's almost like it was meant to happen. I was supposed to go to these places and be at the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right, right.
And it opened my spiritual eyes. I mean, that's an understatement. Something somewhere literally hit me round the head with a lump of 4x4 to get my attention, if for want of a, you know, better analogy. Yeah.
Mine was a 6x6.
Yeah.
Well, I can sympathize with that because I may have said to you before, and you may have heard me say it around YouTube and on different channels, my own old channels, whatever. I grew up on the opposite side of that because I used to observe these holy roller Pentecostal Christians in my old family church, and they were friends of the family uh, in their lives. And what was peculiar about it is that you would see former recidivistic criminals, drug dealers, sometimes even murderers, robbers, muggers, rapists, all these guys that would turn their lives around. And there was seemingly a correlation with whatever this crazy tongue talking behavior I used to observe in church and how these people lived their lives. For some reason, at least some of those old people genuinely cared about other people. They were a giving people, and they would come to you and try to talk to you. And they really didn't know what to do with somebody with boating legs and looked the way I did as a kid. But they were genuinely nice to me and didn't try to treat me like I was some subhuman person. So it led me to wonder over the years. Well, there must be something to this Christianity they claim. It's obviously influencing their lives. Now, I can sympathize with that. And of course, I've seen your detached bastion footage. I remember the old footage you showed me, some of the recordings that you've played before. I can sympathize with that because, mind you, I wasn't going to the detached bastion or haunted mansions in New Orleans or whatever, but I got to experience the other side of that equation. And you obviously can't explain this scientifically. I mean, there's really not much of a scientific explanation for why these people speak with tongues, but also their behavior is markedly different than other people. You can't give an adequate psychological explanation. It ultimately led to me embracing Christianity, but I sympathize with you in the regard of that. I understand that you're not an atheist because you've come across the direct evidence that would, to you, satisfactorily state that there is something beyond our natural world.
Absolutely, beyond doubt. It's just so odd. This has always been a strange paradox. All of these so alleged Christians. I mean, they're not, are they? You
No.
think they would have? Oddly enough, when I first came to YouTube in 2010, along with my family and all my friends that all witnessed the same things, you know. the early lot, the Enoch 2s, that the library flasher, the serial,
Yep, the
abuser.
serial library flasher from Australia.
Yeah, they were, oh, this is great. Hey, Dave, we love your story. I can't wait to see you on TV. And then they started befriending me on Facebook, and I was stupid and
Yep.
naive, and I let them into my inner sphere. And then they
Oh boy.
started, yeah, you know how it is. And then they started sending me private emails every 5 minutes. Oh, look what Final Call's talking about.
This
God,
is this is my rule. Unless you've met them in person, don't let them into your private life.
I made that. I made that fatal mistake. Believe me.
Yeah,
I'm a,
you
I'm
don't
a
know
night.
anyone until you meet them.
Exactly, and I made the fatal mistake of letting one of these individuals actually sleep on my damn couch and eat my food. And
Oh,
within minutes, he's
jeez.
driving back to Swindon making a video about me and my family. And I'm thinking, what the hell? And it all went downhill from that. Well, this was before the Jonathan Turton stuff. He was still around then, but yeah, I'm very
You're going to have
suspicious.
to explain that for, I think, Servant of Christ. I don't think he knows who Enoch 2 / Jonathan Turton was.
Okay, well, he was a big YouTuber about 10 years ago. He was one of Bill Cuthbert's lot. He was one of the free grace movement's big
Uh,
hitters, as it were, and he was disgraced. I think it was about 2017, 2018, wasn't it, Ryan? He
27.
just disappeared off of the completely off the radar screen, literally overnight.
Yeah, I'll
And
show that.
yeah,
This is the Durham Radio News that shows that very. Hold up a second, not that. Shows that very article, and I'll show you the comments where there are both Turton himself, his then new wife, and other alleged victims or former associates speaking about what they experienced from Turton, including the victim, the direct victim from that particular case. So let me share that on the screen.
can you, hey
hold on.
Brian, could you confirm or deny a, I guess, quote unquote stereotype of Anglicans for me?
Well, it depends on what you're asking.
Well, so my first introduction to Anglicans was that a lot of people said that a lot of Anglican churches approve of same sex marriage.
No, the Anglican Communion, the majority of us, out of about 80 to 110 plus million Anglicans that exist in the world, broke away. We no longer see the Archbishop of Canterbury, for example, as the first among equals, largely because of the liberalism in that very issue. If you research
Okay,
GAFCON, GAFCON, the Global Anglican Fellowship of, I forget the rest of it, but GAFCON meets and it essentially confirmed what the majority of us think, which is that no, this is contrary to the Bible, and if these people don't want to be faithful to the Bible, we will be. But I'm going to put everybody else in the back for a second while I show you this paper. Actually, you know what? I don't have to do that. I just do it this way. So here is the news report from Australia. Durham police, and I'll blow this up because it's going to be hard for you to read the text. Let's get this ad out of here. So Enoch 2, oh, wait a sec. Let me go back. Enoch 2 was arrested in 2017. Durham police have arrested a Whitby man after a woman accused him of exposing himself in a library. She says on April 25th around 6 p.m., the man sat down beside her at the Whitby Library on Dunnes Street West. The 28-year-old says he then exposed himself and she yelled, which startled him and caused him to flee. 42-year-old Jonathan Turton of Kennett Drive in Whitby was arrested after tips from the public identified him from surveillance images. That's not doxing, by the way, because the news did it. And then you have
yeah,
this.
I mean
Jonathan
the
Turton,
the
2 years
news made it
later.
public.
Well, yeah, that's the point. You got to understand the hate cultists will say, oh, he doxed Jonathan Turton. Go tell that to the Durham News.
It's on the internet.
Well, yeah, that's
It's right
that's but
there.
that's the point. The news article did it because he was charged. It's not me. Jonathan says 9th of November 2018. That was stupid of me. So he admits, oh, yes, this happened. Jonathan, I'm getting married to my lovely Jinky, so that was stupid. Jenna, the man is a religious fanatic. I was his victim. What a shame for God. Dave C., wonder who that could be.
I
Oh,
wonder.
look, Roger Bright, saved by Jesus' blood, the same guy who went to have lunch with him multiple times, went street preaching multiple times, put all of this up on his channel. Enoch 2. Yes, I know, I met him personally. Always Bible verses, though thought he knew it all, obviously a fake. Well, he's apparently not really that much of a fake, because Roger won't take down any of the content that features Enoch 2 on his channel. Jinky. This is apparently Jonathan Turton's new wife. Last time.
Imaginary wife.
Yeah. Can you imagine the audacity of that comment? Last time promise. Whoever, assuming that's a real person, think about that. Let's assume that's his real wife. She's basically admitting that he's done this before.
Oh gosh,
He's done this before.
a
That's the thing.
serial a serial pervert.
Yeah, according to this Jinky in 2020, last time promise. Daniel, I remember he was doing Bible studies in the library with girls or sometimes a boy. Always was younger and they seemed to have mental issues. He seemed to have issues as well.
Oh
This is the
gosh.
second time this commenter James claims he was arrested. As a Christian, he was holier than thou. We went to the same church for a while. You know, Anna, I didn't expect this from my former boyfriend. Weird fellow, yes, but not this weird. Anonymous, this man is a selfish, narcissistic, and manipulative. Sadly, I know this from experience. Sarah, exactly what Anonymous said. I know this from experience. Anonymous, I am sorry, Sarah. I wish I were the only one. He robbed me of many things. So, if the comments are to be believed, this was the one for which Jonathan Turton was caught. Allegedly, according to these comments, if they're legitimate, there were others. And apparently, Roger Bright, Saved by Jesus' Blood, and Bill Cuthbert, because that's Billy's beloved, they don't have a problem with this. They never call it out.
You know, people like this really, like, they're either influenced or they have like serious mental faculty problems, because like when I try to like understand why people think this way or become thinking this way, I'm just like, dude, like I don't understand it. Like I don't get, like I could never think or find myself doing the things that these people do. It's like I don't get it.
You'll forgive my language, but you're not a religious fanatic, fucking crazy lunatic.
I was just about to
Like
say, you're thinking
like
normally, that's why.
like like I feel like a lot of it has to do with, I feel like a lot of it has to do with how people are raised.
Well, maybe, but
But
I don't care to psychologize.
I
If
know,
you
but I'm just saying, like I'm just trying to like rationalize like why or how do people get to a point to where they just think this way? Because
well,
it's very
I would posit to you.
Servant for
illogical to
Christ.
me.
What is your first name, Servant for Christ?
Jared.
Jared. Okay, Jared, let me recommend a book for you. I've read this about 3 times. The Labyrinth of the Psychopath, Puzzling People by Thomas Sheridan. He's actually a pagan. Dun, dun, dun. But he's
Oh,
actually,
I don't want to read it then. I'm just kidding.
well, you got to have an open mind. You've got to listen to both sides of the story.
Mhm.
But it goes into this guy, right? Even though he's a pagan, he believes in demonic entities and things. And he actually believes that
That's interesting.
yeah, he actually believes that psychopaths are a subhuman species without a soul. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
He
You
said that
you cut out.
the author he's referencing, the pagan fellow Sheridan, is of the opinion that those with ASPD, which is the antisocial psycho, psychopath,
Psychotic disorder.
psychotic disorder, are of a lesser degree. They're subhuman species, in Sheridan's opinion.
Interesting.
But the comment I would add to that, Jared, is that you are fundamentally, you naive, sweet summer child, neglecting what many in both the religious and psychiatric spheres say. Disordered people are attracted to religion like moths to a flame for various reasons. It gives them the control, the attention, the ways to hide and manipulate that they want. And I've experienced this firsthand, not just on YouTube, but in real life.
This sounds a lot like Criminal Minds, the TV show.
I haven't watched it. But Dave, the thing that you got to bring home is Bill knows about Jonathan Turton.
Of course he does, because I've shown screenshots where he attacked one person. I forget who it was. I've got it somewhere. It's up on my Rumble channel. He actually condemned and,
Wayne Cook.
chastised one of his former members of his little cult for sharing videos of Jonathan Turton, but he didn't say anything about Roger Bright, that's Saved by Jesus Blood, who still has those videos up to this very hour. So that is preferential treatment. So,
Yes.
all this nonsense about pedo lovers is utter bullshit.
Yes.
He's, as long as you're doing his bidding, he would team up with Matt Bell. Well, apparently he was a friend with Matt Bell anyway. So it doesn't matter. He's got no morals or scruples. As long as you're doing his bidding, he would have the Yorkshire Ripper or somebody like that. Ted Bundy, if he was alive.
He would have Jimmy Savile. He would have Savile himself. That's the thing about Bill. If Bill could somehow benefit or perceive that he benefited from Jimmy Savile, he'd have him on. He'd welcome him. Another thing, Dave.
We got another Englishman here.
We have two Englishmen. Ben and
Yes,
Bob.
we do.
Ben and Bob, are you here?
Hey, they're not proper English.
No,
they don't ride motorcycles. They're not bikers, all right? So
we have the British invasion. We have the British invasion. We have one Italian, we have two Americans, and the damn Brits are here.
I love Italian.
The British are here. The British are here.
I can't hear.
You're making me crazy. What's the matter with you? I love Italians.
Check to see if your mics are muted. Ben, there you are.
Ben, we can hear you.
I'll get this thing working.
I can hear you, Ben. Just talk. Bob, if that's you, you got to talk. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that's not you. Nexus, is that really you?
Make sure your guys'
you're
audio
muted.
inputs are set to your thing.
Bob, you have to unmute on your end. I can't unmute you in EVMux. You'll see a little mic button at the bottom right corner of your avatar. But just briefly, while I'm so I can relay this to Dave Connell, I learned about Jonathan Turton from Bill. I used to see his content way back in the day, about 2011, and I wasn't a follower of his. I just saw the content. I had no idea who that guy was.
He was a wretched little individual. He actually said, because my mother was, my mother was, she wasn't of any real denomination. She was kind of a student of all. She would accept anybody. If you was Christian, didn't matter whether you was Roman Catholic, Anglican, she'd let you in. And when she died, that little bastard said she was in hell for being a Roman Catholic, and that I blew a head gasket, and then I really let rip on it, and I was firing emails across. And of course, just recently, they're talking about emails. Ben, right? I've shown a video where Bill Cuthbert and Andy Jack and all of that, and they're talking about he's got thousands of emails from Jonathan Turton, from Roger Bright, from all of this crew. So, talk about, the pot calling the kettle black.
Yep.
And the thing is, I've always known this is the truth, right? And this is quite important. I knew back then that there was something seriously wrong. And I was reporting it as soon as I saw Cuthbert going around with the children placed in his care, abusing Final Call. About that same time, alarm bells were going off. And that's when I reported Cuthbert. I screenshot all the conversations that he's admitted he did, right, with his kids and his friends. His friends were little children in that church
The
group.
Pathways Church, yeah.
And I screenshot it and I reported him, and I don't give a monkey's what he says. He can show as many documents and letters as he likes. Not exactly going to admit, are they, in public? Oh, well, yeah, one of our, one of our trusted youth group leaders was abusing his position, because that looks bad on them. So they're never going to admit that.
Well, but you sent me the paperwork that they kicked Bill out. They removed him as the youth pastor, whatever role it was.
Yeah.
And let me just remove this. Bob, just a second. Bob, when you come back in, you're going to have to click the bottom right button to unmute your mic. You on StreamYard or EV Mux have to do that. I can't do that. Secondly,
sorry. I did have problems getting in here. That probably is, Bob. But I couldn't come in here with Firefox. I had to come here with Windows. The Windows browser.
Well, I didn't even know that. That's news to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came in on Google Chrome.
Yeah, that's what.
Can you hear me?
I hear
you.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello?
Mike.
Yeah, I can hear you, Ben. But you're
getting a huge background noise.
Yeah, getting feedback.
I could hear myself.
But all I was going to say is I learned about Enoch 2, Jonathan Turton.
I can't hear you from my laptop. I can only hear you from my phone. It's really weird.
You must have a device issue, Ben. I don't know. But just briefly, I learned about the situation and details of Enoch 2 from Bill himself. I barely knew who Enoch 2 was. I didn't really watch his content. I just saw him around. But it was Bill that told me about Enoch 2, and he went after Wayne Crook. And I'm not sure if Wayne was an Englishman or Australian, but he made reference.
That was it, Wayne Crook. That was the guy. Yeah, I've got the screenshots. So he's very selective. God, there's some terrible noise coming through.
Servant of Christ, you need to mute because you're getting a horrible echo.
There you go. Yeah, thanks for that, Jared. Yeah, just when you're ready, just unmute yourself to talk.
Yeah, that's
Let's
fine.
See if Bob's come back. Let's see if we can get Bob.
Can you talk?
I didn't have it this whole time.
Yeah, when you don't, we can hear your mic rubbing against whatever. It's extremely.
Oh, sorry. I'm in my car. It's probably the road noise.
Well, I don't know what it is, but all I'm saying is when you're not talking, I'm just going to ask that you mute, so that way we don't hear that background noise.
Yeah.
No problem. Bob, sort it out.
I don't know what to tell you, Bob. That's weird. Now we lost Ben, but
he's going to come back.
I don't know.
Anyway, get back on track, Ryan, because
But Bill Cuthbert told me about Enoch 2. It was Wayne Crook who started talking about that, and Bill threatened to go after him because he started talking about the Jonathan Turton Enoch 2 issue. But I asked Bill when I found out about it, what exactly is this Enoch 2 business, and why was Bill so scared? And I mean to tell you, he was visibly fearful to talk about the subject. But whenever Bill says invariably, I don't know nothing about no Jonathan Turton. Yes, he did.
I don't know nothing about Sebastian Dresden.
And I showed the other day. Yes, he did. He was on streams.
And how they can stand there and, say that we're lying in the face of overwhelming evidence, their own material that contradicts themselves, but I've had to face this over and over again, and it's a waste of time with people online because truly they just don't give a shit. They're just there for the drama. But in Cuthbert's case and all of them, I was reporting this to the police early on. I said there's something really bad going on here. I just feel it in my in my bones, and I've been proven correct in two cases since then. Jonathan Turton being the first one, and
Matt Bell.
Matt Bell. So, and they're still calling me and like only yesterday I had this ding dong, this online. Well, I quite enjoyed that with Brickner, and he denied knowing about all this. And I just put up a video. Well, I didn't have to. I just put a link to it on my Rumble channel when Brickner doxed everybody, and he's
Yep.
talking about all the stuff that he denied any knowledge of yesterday.
Yep.
You can't reason with crazy people. You just can't.
You can't. And what's funny is he'll say, "I'm not a stalker." Then what is the first thing he does? He comes with his face on his video feed on to my channel the day after or the day of and starts harassing me. Then he shows up at the news units. I'm not Lucifer. Ah!
Well, the thing is, right, Ryan, is the thing that really worried me, because they're so determined to try to cover up whatever's hiding within the shadows of this whole affair, that they're prepared to make vexatious, you know, claims against you in Jack's case just to silence you and to shut you up. And he's threatening Ben and he's threatening me with bring that on.
Well, he's threatened me too. If you remember, just
bring
about
it
a month
on.
ago.
Bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Especially bring it on to the U.S., Andy. Oh, I can't wait.
But the thing is, me and my wife have had enough. We've had to endure so much. You've got Thick Shades there that has been doxing me at the behest of these people, for 15 years. And then Andy Jack joined in. And the video I found, I'd forgotten all about it, that I put up about a week ago, where he literally admits, on camera, that he went along with the porn domains and because he lived in fear of what Thick Shades and Cuthbert would do to his business. That is the most cowardly act.
I was going to tell you the other day, he came into one of the old Smoky streams, and I asked Andy directly, Andy, you won't out the porn domains because you're afraid of what Thick Shades and Bill will do to your taxi cab business. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And you think you're going to lose your business if he doesn't? Yes, that's right.
The irony is, Ryan, and I make no qualms about trying. He can say I absolutely did report him to his taxi licensing because I considered him extremely unstable and dangerous to be around the general public in a taxi, and the irony of all that didn't work. Right. I tried everything. I put him on 2 court orders and restraining orders, and that didn't work. And I've got to bring that all back now because I've got about 800 CamCap hangouts or CamCap video diaries where he talks about me in one form or another.
Some of them. I mean, I've seen the ones where he puts your face on coffee mugs and
all of
this
that
craziness.
Even when he's on holiday or when he's, at Christmas dinner, that he's talking about me. And he did the same when he was on holiday just recently in Tunisia. All he could talk about was you.
Yeah, you and me.
And Smokey Saint. And he was fat shaming you. Did you hear that?
I didn't care because I sit there thinking, well, Bill's not exactly skinny and Praise is morbidly obese, but you don't see Andy saying anything about that.
But the strangest part of all is he doesn't see his own guilt. He doesn't, he's incapable of feeling any remorse or accepting any responsibility for the things that he's done. He only sees, how dare you show my horrible videos that I've made about so many people, and he considers that slander. That's the bizarre thing about all of this crew. They all have that same trait, is if you dare to speak out against the evil deeds that they've done all of their lives their YouTube lives, you're worthy of being thrown in jail. And that's kind of scary. And you start to realize how, the burning of witches and things like that and the Holy Inquisition's kicked off. It's the same mindset.
People, these people, if they could, would launch their own jihad if they could against anyone who disagrees with them. Bob,
Yeah.
you're here. Does your mic work? You're unmuted.
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I hear
Looks
you
like
Yes,
you
just
can.
fine.
success at last. Hello, Bob. Morning. How are you?
Hello. Hello, I'm
Are you going to
fine.
cause trouble, Bob, like you were doing at Dave's?
I wasn't causing trouble, Ryan. Thank you.
You're getting into it with me, pretty bad. I'm just picking on you, man.
I was getting into it with Dave. I'm getting sick of the clown.
Well, then don't go to his
He
channel.
brings it.
You
Well,
know.
it's his channel, but he brings a pig in, like Spider, and
Well,
then that's it.
to a level, I agree with you, and I go back and forth privately with Dave about that because on one level he gets pissed off by it. On another level, I think he finds it funny.
Yeah, well, he's an idiot for that then. I can barely hear you. I don't know why I can't get my volume up.
It's probably your connection because from my back end, it shows your Wi-Fi connection is not very strong. But I'm
Oh,
curious, Dave. You're here. I know you and Rob Reed got close enough that at one point you sent him a piece of an article of what was it, cup that you had got from a deep sea dive. Would you care to elaborate on that? Because Rob's now trying to claim that you and he were not all that close.
Hmm.
You know, you don't really know each other too well, etc.
Really? That does surprise me. I really liked Rob. I'm going to be honest. At the time, I really liked Rob Reed because Rob Reed was always ever present, even back in the days of Jonathan Turton. More's coming out, and I was very wary of him to start with because I know that he supported Jonathan Turton, Roger Bright when this
Mhm.
almighty wind cult
Well,
started
yeah, he
sending out subpoenas, and he was protecting Bright and all of these people.
Well, yeah, he. If I'm right, he filed motions or subpoenas or whatever on the behalf of miners that he claimed
Can't
a
hear
mighty
nothing.
wind attempted to sue.
Yes, I came. That's about the time I came in. I came onto YouTube around the tail end of that, and yeah, I mean, what I've learned is that this almighty wind cult did some pretty monstrous things too. But the thing is now with hindsight, Cuthbert's cult have done equally
Oh yeah,
horrendous things, and they're doing it on a daily basis, and they've literally become that which they
No.
hated. It's bizarre.
oh yes. Not. I don't mean to interrupt you, Ben. Bob. Oh, Bob just kicked himself out. Ben's disconnected.
yeah.
Y'all.
I
So
was on my mobile.
oh,
I was on my mobile.
Ben's going to have to get his connection fixed. I don't know what's going on. It must be on his end. But please continue.
I
Who
was
me?
on my
Oh,
mobile phone. Oh,
I
sorry,
said
Bob. Go ahead, Bob. Bob.
I said Bob. I meant to say Ben. Next time, I'm just going to say that damn Englishman number one, that damn Englishman number two, that damn Englishman number three.
hey,
I'm
I came in
kidding.
on my
Come on,
mobile.
Bob.
Oh dear. I
Am
came
I
in on my
allowed to
mobile.
joke on my channel, Bob? Go on, y'all.
I came in on my mobile phone earlier. I could barely hear you, so I thought, well, I'll get on my laptop.
Yeah, sure,
Get
that's
you on.
fine. Now, but what were you saying, Dave?
I've forgotten. We was
You
talking
were
about.
talking about how radical Bill's cult was, and they
Yeah, I
performed
mean,
the
and
things that
that's
they
about the time that Cuthbert came on, as I said. Because I know that Final Call's doctrinal beliefs were very controversial. One sin going to send you to hell, and all of this. But the thing is that the thing that I admired about him. From a human perspective, is at that time he was receiving death threats and all manner of
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
And do you know what? I admire his self-control. Never once did he actually retaliate, and that was remarkable.
Well, yeah, I can't speak to it because I was not a Jan Boshoff disciple, but I don't remember him retaliating. I definitely remember Bill and Jack Smack spending years going after this Jan Boshoff and saying terrible things about how Jan Boshoff's going to go to hell and all the Jan bullshit videos.
What was the
Exactly.
result? What was the result they were actually expecting from that?
That's a good question.
Exactly, Bob. It didn't. It just, I mean, that guy was bulletproof. It just bounced off and he just carried on regardless. I saw your video the other day. What is the point of all of this? that's all he knows, because Cuthbert is definitely got the mind of a child. I think he's actually special needs, and that's why the police have left him alone. He could be protected under the Mental Health Act or something along those lines.
I've often wondered about that privately. I also have wondered if he has potential connections within UK law enforcement, because there are some strange things I've observed and things the Cuthbert children told me at a certain time, which made me wonder about that.
Yeah, well, I've got a video. I've got a couple of videos about that very thing, because I did complain to the police because they didn't seem to want to prosecute him for anything, and especially when they were doxing me and calling me a nonce and shit. And he put out a couple of videos, and the first time he was talking about this hammer incident with this other guy, and
Yeah,
said
and then he
that
changes it.
a police officer who was a brother in Christ that he'd known from old.
Hmm,
And I
hmm.
thought, okay, so there's some preferential treatment there. And I
Well,
actually reported that to the police. And then a week later, he put out another video, and I've mashed that together, where he says, oh, it was just a police officer.
right. Well, I'm going to be careful with what I say, because some of this was divulged to me in private. But allegedly, one of Cuthbert's relatives may or may not be law enforcement. I don't know if this is still true, but that's what I was told directly.
I
So
would
I
not
don't.
be at all surprised. I wouldn't be at all surprised. But the lies that I've caught him out on, when this horrendous potato picture
I
allegation
know.
first came out, you had, I've still got emails now where I'm saying to Jack, get out of there. What are you trying to do? And he ignored it, because he enjoys all of that stuff. All
Well,
the time,
yeah,
it's not backfiring on him. And as soon as it starts to involve him and he thinks, oh, I don't like this, then he goes running to the courts or the police.
yeah. Or he opens up an alt channel where he starts bashing the crap out of them. Then they threaten
Mm,
him, and he
mm.
inevitably stops. It's
Exactly,
whatever.
but we've still got freedom of speech, and under the Human Rights Act, you've still got, the legal right to defend yourself against
Yep,
criminal allegations, and this sort of thing, and it doesn't compute. But the point I was going to make was, in this particular hangout that Andy Jack gave me permission to put up, I've got the screenshot
I
of it.
know.
Um, this Joseph Swain, who contacted David Proctor, first of all, to derail my book. It's always been around my book. He claimed plagiarism on The Darkest Path, a guy from Seattle, Washington, that's never left, America. And then he started threatening David Proctor. I've got all the emails that he sent. I've got them. I'm going to send them to you, Ryan. Right? It's disgusting. And David Proctor was he had stage 3 lung cancer, and you got this lunatic from Seattle, Washington, Joseph Byron Swain, the Think Spot, Sebastian Dresden, and about a million other names, claiming that I was responsible for his wife's death through trolling, apparently, over one stupid little incident. He threw me under the bus, but he was part of this cult, and he was a bit perverse and bizarre
Well,
too. But he said, the point is, in this long hour and a half long slander fest of me, he claimed that I had driven Bill Cuthbert and his family away from his home into another city. And then you just got to
well,
wait with these people. And then a couple of years later, Cuthbert's sitting there talking with Andy Jack and all of these people, saying where he had to move out of this original place that nobody wanted to live. And the dates, it worked out, it probably was about 4 or 5 years before I even came to YouTube. And it
right.
was because he was being persecuted by the local community. They were slashing his tires, smashing his windows, threatening to
I
burn them
wonder
out.
why.
Exactly.
I
So
wonder why.
nobody sees that. Not even the lawyer. The attorney at law knows all this, and
Well,
he's chosen. So there's something dirty and dark going on behind this crew.
well, and not just that, but the other conclusion I've reached, Dave, is that they've got so much on each other that they have a variety of ways they could take each other out. They don't. I don't think that's what they want to do. I think they enjoy the power trip they get of trying to intimidate each other,
Oh,
because
undoubtedly.
they think that they can intimidate people like you or people like me. Like Brian Davis does it all the time, and they just can't conceive of, dumb fuck. You just make yourself look like an idiot. I didn't have to do anything.
It's the
And by,
most
and by the
bizarre
way,
thing.
if I didn't hardly know Joe Byron Swain in 18, he came on a stream on Bill's channel, and I mean he cussed me out. I'll never forget that. I didn't even hardly know the guy,
He
but
was he was a pervert too. And here's the thing, right? I told, when I was actually friendly with Joe Swain for a little while, because again, just like Rob Reed, he come across as a nice guy and all of this, and they must have had something on him, because then all of a sudden people started unsubscribing from him, and he threw me under the bus, and I thought, you wanker,
well, yeah. And by the
cowardly
way,
wanker.
the first time I learned about his name was from Bill, and
Hmm.
all I know is that the guy had never been out of the U.S. How would he possibly know what was going on in England?
Some of the stuff they did, it was just shocking. And then at about that time, Trevor Vernon started putting
Hmm.
all this stuff around, and I was being contacted by Alex Barton and a number of the atheist community, and they started telling me things. And the thing is, Andy Jack was actually privy. He was in a joint Skype call with me with Trevor Vernon when Trevor was so. Andy knew all of this, but obviously when this Benny the Gangster hangout, the infamous Benny the Gangster hangout started, and I've got that. They started calling Andy Jack a pedo, guilty by association. He played that card. And at that point, Andy threw me literally under the bus, joined forces. And the next thing I know, when I'm having a go at him, saying, "You fucking arsehole, how could you do that to somebody? You slept on my couch and you ate my food. You make a video saying what a wonderful guy I am. The next thing I know, you're joining in with this shit because you're too scared to get some of your own treatment." And then he starts jumping on the let's all slander Dave Chapman bloody bandwagon. And then it escalated from there. And I said to him, "How could you fucking do that to me? You know, you know what they've done to my book, and this is the truth because I've got the screenshots in my loft in files." I said, "How could you do that?" And he said, "Play another tune. We're tired of that song. Stop being butthurt." And I said to him, "Andy, you call me butthurt. This is my life's work, my story. It's devastating revelation, and you're pissing all over it." I said, "That's like me saying to you, stop being butthurt about the loss of your mum and your kid." Oh, next
Well,
thing
yeah,
I know,
and
he's showing
frankly,
his dead son.
well, yeah, he did, and that was the weird thing with me is that I was shocked when you brought that to my attention. I remember seeing those videos when he originally posted them, and when I pointed that out on a video, which they've now clipped out and tried to weaponize, and it blew up in their faces.
Yeah.
That is really weird. Why would you hang around a guy who did that? And all of a sudden, Andy Jack's got all these issues with me. He had to admit, and there were streams at the time, I may have them,
He's
where
doing what he's told. He's doing what he's
well,
told. He's
no,
made
I
that
know that, but
clear.
my point is, he admitted on streams, Dave, in 17 and 18, he didn't know me,
Yeah,
and
I
you've
know.
actually got some of that on your archive where
Yeah,
he said, "I don't
yeah.
know this Ryan," and it's like, well, then
It's so
why the
bizarre.
hell do you have a problem with me?
They all do that. They like just oh no, I don't know. I don't know who this, but I mean, Thick Shades is doing it recently over there. If it really is Thick
If it
Shades,
is
saying
sticky,
this disco guy, who is he? I'm thinking, shut up, Thick Shades. You dream about me night and freaking day. You've been
oh
doxing
yeah,
me for 15 freaking years, but they've all got that trait, like a group amnesia, but
oh yeah,
selective amnesia.
but
But this is all going to end very badly. But what I don't understand about Andy is he can't see what a fool he's made of himself. He's doing their bidding, going to court, having to lose work, stressing himself. And, he just doubles down on it. All he had to do was just come out, make a video saying, "I'm sorry," because everybody now knows that he was cheering them on out of fear. He could use that, but he chooses not to
of
because
course,
he's fucking stupid. He ain't got a fucking brain wired the right way round. He
so.
could just say, "Okay, I admit it.
He could.
I was terrified that they were going to call me a paedophile all over the internet and show
Well,
my
yeah,
business and do this and do that. And I apologise, Dave. But then that would make him liable. Well, he's liable anyway because I've got enough
well,
proof
yeah.
to hang him 3 times over. But no,
Well, he even made himself liable toward me because remember he did that video last summer where he said that I'm innocent. This is what they did to Ryan. Ryan's not much of a threat to Bill. And then all of a sudden that went away. Ben, I see your back. Does your mic work?
Uh, hello, Ryan. I can hear you, and I didn't even know
Yeah.
what is it? Catchy,
Cash.
cash.
Yeah, you see, if
No,
sometimes you try to come on live streams, no matter the streaming service, and you got all these old cookies and old history, it might affect your ability to hear. I don't know why, but sometimes if you clear out the browser, you can hear. So, welcome, Ben. Nice to see you.
yeah, I can hear. I can hear you. Do you know what, friends? I'm going to tell you something. Last night, well, actually Monday, a friend of ours, part of our church, he's very zealous for the Lord, very joyful, and he invited 7 or 8 of us to his house. So we went last night, and that was Monday. He invited us, so we went
Keep,
last night. All
don't
of
mean
the
to
same.
break in, but just keep talking. I'll be right back.
Okay, all of the same mind. We're all believers, of course. We all gathered. We all gave testimony, read a bit of scripture, sang a couple of songs. But when someone gave their testimony, they broke out with a bit of news that they were very scared because of what we'd think. But the truth is, when we listened, we didn't judge him, we didn't condemn him. Instead, we prayed for the guy. And what I notice about real fellowship and fake fellowship online with these, there's no fellowship with people like Bill or any of them. But the difference is there's no with real fellowship last night. There was no mocking. There was no nastiness. There was no nothing like that whatsoever. And that's at the end of the day, the contrast is amazing. But people like Bill who just mock and bring up past like my past at the moment. Bill, Bob, you showed a video yesterday of Bill talking about tarot cards, blah blah blah. I mean, the guy is absolutely sick. But the difference is the contrast is an absolute amazement. How real fellowship with friends, true friends, instead of online people, is just absolutely amazing.
so you followed my advice, didn't you? That's exactly what I told you to do on the phone, Ben.
Yep,
And
that's
lo and
right.
behold, shared some time with some real Christians, some true. The bottom line is he's not a Christian. None of these people are. They just merely use that as a facade, and it gives
Yep.
them power. And as Ryan said, and he's nailed it, Bill wants to be something rather than nothing, anything rather than nothing, and he gets off on hurting people
Oh, I'm back.
and controlling people. I've got to go and make a cup of coffee. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm just going to make a fresh cup of coffee.
Janet, nice to see you. I didn't hear everything y'all said, but I heard most of it.
Yeah, I was just saying, Ryan, that had good fellowship. Um, had good fellowship with true believers. I was invited on
Well, good.
Monday with some other friends of ours from our fellowship church, and we all met at this brother's house. He's got a lovely wife, and they got a child, and that Litland went to bed, and of course his wife was upstairs, and of course she allowed us to have the living room, so we were
Good.
all in there sharing testimonies, reading scripture, singing songs, even from the
Well,
YouTube,
good.
because there
Good.
was 2 songs, "Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus" and "Wonderful Words." I don't know if you've heard that one before.
I know the first one. I will give you a piece of advice, Ben. I've tried to give this advice to the news unit and it doesn't always apply it. You tend to get upset, and then when you become upset, you just shoot off on your live stream or your community post. You got to remember every time you do that, these people are recording. Like they're probably Brian Davis is probably recording this stream right now. And what they will do, which I have on my uh, archive, is that they will weaponize those statements. And you're probably seeing that now from old Bill. All I'm saying is, if you get upset, I get it, but you have to learn to control that. You also have to learn you can get upset, and you don't want to put that on the internet.
I understand. I
I say that
understand that.
because
Yeah.
it's like I've tried to tell the news unit. The one side of this hate cult tries to perpetuate the ideology that Dave is this raging, mad, insane person. And then Dave goes on there and says really stupid stuff. And I know that he doesn't always mean that. But then he'll just turn around and do it again. Like, well, Dave, I don't know what to tell you because you keep
Mm,
doing that. Whenever you do it, you reinforce their narrative. You know?
yeah.
I've told him
Yeah.
that 3 or 4 times. He doesn't listen. He's too clever for everybody else. Everybody's stupider than he is.
I don't think that's the case, Bob. I think he just does not think about it in the moment.
Oh,
Who, Dave?
I'm back again.
No, not that Dave, the news unit. But continue. I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
Yeah. News unit. Yeah.
What have I missed? Anything good? Obviously not.
Ah.
Okay, so getting back to the video that Bob made, where Cuthbert is dragging up your past. Well, that's what he does, but no one's allowed to drag up his past, are they? And that is in complete contradiction to the teachings in the Gospels to do that. So, what does that tell you? Funny thing is, you got Thicky the lunatic, the porn dealing lunatic, going around calling me for the last, I don't know, with these AI videos, the advocate, the adversary, sorry, that I'm bringing up the people's past, past deeds and all of this, and I must be of the devil. Yeah, but that's what they do. But remember, I'm not a Christian, am I? I believe in God in a form. We've had this discussion with Bob. We could talk about that another time. But that's what they're doing. That's how they operate. They try to find dirt on people. And sadly, a lot of people, and I fell into that trap with Jack. I allowed him into my home. But the thing is, he couldn't find anything other than my past. I've got videos where he's talking to the police, and the police are saying to him, "Stop doing it. Stop doing it." And the fact that he recorded the conversation with a police officer, PC Skaith, and says to PC Skaith, "Oh, well, I am recording this for my own record, but it might end up on the internet." That told PC Skaith immediately that he had no intention of stopping. The following day, he films himself phoning Canterbury police just to prove a point to Mark Anoia, making a false allegation about me. These people are nuts, Ben. Don't you get that? They're completely insane. And all that comes out is toxic poison and hatred. And like say, I'm, you had Bruce in your hangout. That he went into thick shades with with his only, safe haven left, saying, "Oh, all he talks about is personal stuff and blah blah blah." Well, isn't that what
Well,
you
Bruce does the same thing.
exactly? Well, it's like they actually believe that they can go and badmouth people and not receive a challenge or a response. And if you respond, out come all of the victim cards. You see, look what he said there. It's the most bizarre shit I've ever seen. You wouldn't last 5 seconds in the real world like that because, all of them, Andy, Jack, Bill, Cuthbert, they just get their teeth knocked out immediately. And the internet is do you know what? I hate the internet. I really hate it because it gives platform to people that shouldn't really have a platform, if you get my meaning.
No, I
yeah,
do. I mean, I do. I understand it perfectly.
yeah.
Okay, must have glitched. Now I can see my comments. But
Jolly good.
I actually agree with you, Dave. In fact, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm not a believer in freedom of speech. And these people prove to me every day that freedom of speech should be restricted. But that's a whole other socio-political discussion.
Mm. Well, I'm an advocate for freedom of speech, but with freedom of speech comes a great responsibility. That doesn't give you the freedom to go and slander people
Exactly.
maliciously and
Commit hate
just
crime.
try to hurt people.
Right.
And you
Reason,
got
the category of hate speech exists
Of
is
course it
because there
does.
is some speech that has the intent to harm people and specifically targets them on some kind of basis. So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
religious basis, it's an ethnic basis.
I
Uh,
remember something talking about hate speech. I recall something from a court case, and a certain taxi driver said he said he wants to kill someone, and I remember what the judge says. He says, "I'm a judge. I'm a family court judge." He says, "I hear that every day. Just because somebody says he wants to doesn't mean to say he's going to." And it's bizarre how they take every word that their enemies say literally, like
oh,
Bruce
yes.
Brickner did. Why did you say you'd pull out his oxygen? Because I'm an arsehole, and I'm being an arsehole just like you're being an arsehole, and I'm fighting an arsehole by being an arsehole. Your point is, it's bizarre.
It is
It's
bizarre.
really
It is
odd.
bizarre. I bet you I can get a clip made on me. I believe we're all little purple aliens. Watch, they're going to take that clip and spread
Oh,
it all over the place.
well, thick shades.
Everyone believes he's purple alien.
I put up that this is how their fucking brains work. I mean, it's really odd. Like Thicky jumped up on that email that Rob Reed put out publicly. I put that up for Ben to show that they're hypocrites. That Rob
Oh
Reed
yeah,
used a private, very sensitive email, and this is an attorney at law at California, and posted it publicly, and they jumped on that. And they're saying, why doesn't he call himself Dave Chapman instead of Dave Connell? Well, I've already explained, Dave Connell is a pseudonym. It's an anagram between Connor and Alison Connell, yeah? And it's up to me what. But he calls himself Thick Shades and Uncle Sam and just about a trillion other things.
well yeah. He
But the
has.
point is, right, Brian, is I thought, yeah, cheers, Thicky. You're actually helping me advertise the fact that Rob Reed is a complete dishonest arsehole. Way to go, Einstein.
Well, not to mention in the U.S. there was that privacy expectation between you and he, and
Hmm.
by breaching that, he did something that's not very smart, legally speaking.
Well, here's the thing, right? Let's go back to the pot that you was talking about. I remember now. I really liked Rob Reed at the time because he came out and I was having private I was showing him my brother Mick and all of this, and I said, this is my on camera. This is my brother Mick, and this is Alison, and this is my son Connor, and
Hmm.
all. And I was sending him tons of stuff, and he sent me a couple of mugs, troll mugs. I've still got one. One got broken with Thicky's face on it. Troll
I
alert.
remember that he made mugs of that.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
made a shirt of me.
But it all went wrong when COVID started. And I've mentioned this over and over again, and I've still got the emails that he sent. I'm saying, look, please, Rob, don't take these vaccines, please,
Hmm.
because I just knew. When you got discernment, you just know something's not right. You know when you're about being had, right? And I just thought this is a scam. It's just not right. And now, of course, I've been proven correct the world over.
Well, yeah.
But
Now
he
you
was
have
really
government.
sarcastic and nasty, and I
Well,
sent
yeah.
big laugh.
Reed's mo is that he loves to palliate abuse as sarcasm.
Yeah, he's an arrogant prick, and I didn't like what I started to learn about him. I just thought, you arrogant prick. I'm sitting here, I've been nice to you, and I'm trying to warn you for all the right reasons, and you're just mocking me as some
Well,
conspiracy nut. And I just thought, oh fuck
you
you.
you remind me of something, Dave. At one point, probably 2021, 2022, it was Rob Reed that had a Spud mug or a mug
Hmm.
coming after me with my face on it. It was either a mug or a T-shirt. I'd forgot about that.
He has the audacity to post a video, talk about showing off from a cruise ship, saying that we all need to go out and see the world. This is a guy that spent the last 15 years in every single hangout he can get on, apart from his own, of course, because he wants to show himself as this squeaky clean, all American guy that loves Jesus. But he's in every,
Except when he's
yeah,
doxing people.
and in the most depraved hangouts like Praise I Am with a dude and talking about shit. And look what they did to that Brian Reader. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
God. And
That
you
was
got Rob
dreadful.
Reed in there. Why ain't he saying, hang on a minute, that's a bit naughty. This guy's a Vietnam vet or whatever. No, Gulf War veteran, decorated. He's got cancer. You shouldn't be saying that shit about him.
Well, and
No,
more importantly, as a lawyer, he has an ethics code he
of
has to
course.
obey, and
Yeah.
that code would tell him you cannot associate with people like that doing those things. Period.
If he was in the UK, I mean, Bob and where's he gone?
And
Ben would if you've ever had
I'm
anything to
here.
do with solicitors, you know, he would be thrown out immediately. Right? Any
well,
solicitor in the UK or barrister or whatever lawyer wouldn't be seen dead doing that stuff
oh
online
no.
because it would literally mean death for their career.
Yeah.
The reason I
Lose
speculate
a lot of money as well, Dave.
Yeah, it would. It would. No one would
My,
hire them. No
well
yeah,
one.
my lawyer was earning 250 quid an hour
Oh, yeah,
on
it's
a
more than that now, Bob.
well
That's old. It's
Oh yeah,
Really?
500 now. £500 an hour.
yeah.
the reason I speculate Reed's got away with it is that people didn't realize you can report a lawyer to the state bar, and you should. And I will be doing that again. You see, Rob screwed up. I have a 5 hour news unit stream where he got into it with Smokey Saint. And in that stream, Rob says that the bar laughed at that complaint. Now, that's interesting because one of the things the bar can do is called a private judgment or private admonition, meaning that they will not publicly say that they disciplined the lawyer, but it is on your record. And if you're going to make that statement, the bar laughed at his complaint. Well, if the bar took no action and you weren't afraid of it, you just say they didn't do anything with it. The complaint was spurious. Why would you say the bar laughed at it? Oh, maybe they did do something allegedly, and you can't talk about it, which would then mean any subsequent reports could trigger further action. And it will be coming. You have my word. I've had enough of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been warning him and warning him and warning him for about 14 months now. The thing is, I don't know what the jurisdiction barrier would be, whether they would listen to somebody from the UK. Because as I mentioned before, the affidavit, sorry, that he provided was pretty much useless because he's not accountable in the UK unless he's in the UK. Do you get what I mean? If he came to the UK and stood in the court, then he's under the jurisdiction and the authority of the court. And if he's
Right.
found to be committing perjury, he could be punished. But to punish a lawyer overseas would be a very arduous,
It well, and
immensely expensive, you know.
that's one thing I've noticed about Rob. He loves these legal gray areas. The problem is what he's doing. I'll give you $100,000 to shut the fuck up, or making the post that he's making, where he's not engaging when members of the public are asking him, "Why did you say Thick Shades died?"
This is the
That
thing. It was all him, wasn't it? He was the one that put that out here. And to be honest, the way he says that, he literally meant it. I just, that's
well,
a
yeah. The
conundrum.
way I played it yesterday, he said, Thick Shades maintain that until his dying day. Well, that's pretty clear. I mean, the average person listening to that would interpret that to mean, oh, that Thick Shades passed away. Well, then where's the obituary?
Could I just make a point? Sorry to
No,
interrupt.
no, Ben.
Uh,
Be quiet, Ben. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
well,
Anything you say, Bill.
so Janet in the chat makes a good point because she said Bruce was Bruce was so upset with Ben. But Ben didn't rebuke Dave. That's you, Dave. For yelling at him yesterday. No, and then she says, "When on earth has Bruce in the last 2 years rebuked Bill, Cheryl, Tom, and all them?" Well, do you know why I didn't rebuke Bruce? Sorry, do you know why I didn't say anything to you, Dave Connell?
Go on then.
Because you're my guest. You were my guest on my show, and there are some things that needed hashing out. No, I don't agree with anyone saying about people having a heart attacks. I've never agreed with that. But the truth is, you were on my channel. You were a guest on my channel, and there were some things you both needed to hash out, and I just wanted to let you both do that. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to mute you, or I'm not going to mute anyone. You talk.
Well,
Well, here's the thing, right? Let me just respond to that, Ryan.
go ahead.
Exactly. But the thing is, they take everything again, everything you say seriously. You know, that was English black humour. Oh, maybe he's dropped dead at the mic. You know, maybe he's done a Tommy Cooper. You know, call
Yeah,
911. You know, do you see what he said? You know, but the
yeah,
thing is about his wife and all of that, because I know he's touchy, and I'm going to pull. If he's going to try and pull my buttons, I'm going to do it back. And when you do it back, he got all personal talking about my wife. Well, I'm beginning to wonder, you know,
yeah,
where is this wife? Because I'll tell you what.
Well, let me say one thing. She used to come to Bruce while he was on streams in 18, 19, 20, to say, why don't you come to bed? Why don't you come talk to me? So I'm not going to say whether or not, she's still with him or not. I don't know. I don't care.
Hmm,
But I can definitely say the last time Bruce tried to interact with me at Veckles, he started singing about Ryan the Beto.
hmm,
He tries to stalk me over at Dave the News Units. I cover where he does his crap, and then what does he do? He comes in my backstage with his camera on to harass me at my channel after he tries to harass me at Ben's. Not the one y'all did yesterday, but a slightly early one earlier in the week. The one where he and I had a discussion. You see, what Bruce doesn't want to admit is this. He screwed up and admitted, which I recorded here and I've got the stream, that a mighty wind put out the information, docs, about his LLC and where he lived. This was years before I ever met Bruce or knew of his existence.
Now that leads me to something else I wanted to bring up there, actually, and thank you for that, Ryan. Now, as bad as Almighty Wind apparently were, I did see a number of their videos, and I did hear that they were a cult, and they were pretty much like the Jehovah Witnesses, where they
Oh yeah.
turn parent against child. Because my family, my cousins have had a similar experience with the Jehovah Witnesses, and they are horrendous. Make no mistake about that. But the point is, there was a group effort, a coordinated effort by all of the people we've mentioned to get rid of Almighty Wind off of the YouTube platform at the time, and there were
Yep.
court cases in it, and it was getting nasty. This is literally history repeating itself. But the point is, if you try to suppress people, to take away their platform to speak, as they've tried to do to me multiple times, these people are going to go to other, resources. They're going to create a website where they
Yep.
can give their opinion. So the truth of the matter is, Bruce Brickner, Rob Reed, all of these people only have themselves to blame by trying to suppress the other individuals from giving their side of the story. In my book, if you've read it, or Ben has, Ben,
I
remember,
have.
yep,
remember
yeah.
where
I've
I
heard
talk
it. I've
about
heard it.
all those videos from my deceased father-in-law about the
Yep.
the runic and the ship, and how I reunited with these friends from. I've lost all of that because they were flagging the shit out of me. And what did Andy Jack do only last week? Hit my Rumble channel with 5 fake DMCA clips. They've proven, they've validated my story yet again, and they don't see it.
Yeah.
They don't
Yep.
And
realise it.
and I think, and I personally think,
Pardon me.
because Janet mentioned by how that when Andy had that conversation with Bruce and mentioned about wife, Bruce threatened to knock his put him through the wall. But
Yeah,
when
we
you
have
mentioned
that.
it,
We
yeah,
have that.
exactly.
I was watching the original stream because Bruce comes on there screaming, "How'd you like your head thrown through a fucking wall? Ah, Andy, ah!" And I just had to laugh because you watching Andy live. He's got his camera on, right? And he's genuinely shocked in the this clip. It's on my channel. It's on Dave's channel on Rumble. And for me, what was incredible is Andy afterward did videos on his channel. I've been bruised. I've been bruised. Like, how are you shocked about this? You've been hanging around this dude for years. I guess maybe for Andy that might have been the first time where he experienced the full inglorious Brucifer, that will come after you at the slightest drop of the hat.
I'll tell you
But the
something,
fact,
Rob.
but the fact is, when Dave brought up about wife, etc., Bruce did nothing. I think
Mm-hmm.
personally, Dave, I think they're scared of you.
Well, we know that they're
Yeah,
scared. The echelon these days is that they're scared of Basement Dweller, Smoky Saint, Dave, and me.
They're not scared of me personally or anyone else because the chances are we're never going to meet. They're scared of the truth, Ben. That's what
Exactly.
scares them the most. They don't want to be humiliated with their own material, and that's
Exactly.
what they fear the most. And going back to Andy, is all of this stuff he's created himself.
Yep.
He's put himself in a situation stuck between a rock and a hard place, and it's of his own making. It was his choice to, go the cowardly route, as long as they're not talking about him, and throw a decent human being, which he says in that My Mate Dave video, which he made without my permission. It was on the way home at early hours of the morning. He's only got himself to blame for being dragged to court, which he said into you, is stressful and all of that. But he brought that stress upon himself by making that decision to allow these people like Bill Cuthbert, Thick Shades, and all these others to control him.
Yeah. To say
And
it
he's
another
blaming me for it again.
to
It's
say
the
it
most.
another way, what has happened, Ben, over the past year and a half, as Dave and I have begun extensively documenting this, is
yeah,
now these people realize they have a delusional narrative. They genuinely believe the bullshit that they know is untrue. That I'm this potato, Dave's this potato. They believe Bill's bullshit, even though they know internally it's untrue. Well, what
hmm
happened then was now they have to constantly look at their own content. They do that because they obsessively stalk every post we make.
yeah,
What's that's done is it's made them realize the delusions they believe don't exist outside of their brains, one and two. It's made them
yeah.
all realize that the real enemies are each other. And what really
That's right.
confirmed that is Rob Reed, with his big fat mouth, jumps on his community tab and says that he made an incredible statement. I captured this. He said, quote, "I am an untrustworthy, harassing person." And he admits that he's the star witness. Well, if you're reading that, it doesn't make sense unless you think about it. Rob knows that he is a lawyer. He knows his goose is cooked. He can see the handwriting on the wall from his legal training. That means if this does become a criminal case, I am the star witness. Translation: he's going to lay all these fuckers out and he doesn't have a problem doing it. And what are they going to use to do it? Their own content that we've posted or recorded.
Well, as I said to you yesterday, I mean, this is just insane. They're going to sue everybody for copyright. I mean, all the early
Bring
stuff.
it.
But it was George. Well, good luck there. You're going to need a Ouija board or something, or a medium to take him to court because he's dead. He hated them. But the point is, first of all, they're going to have to explain what this content is. They're going to.
Yes.
I said this to you the other day. Okay, the judge is going to say, right, what is the content we're talking about to evaluate the loss, right? To prove
Mhm.
that they've lost money out of this content, they've got to show. They'll say, what is it? Music? Is it or
Yeah.
video, like a
What
movie? Or
what
well,
artwork,
no,
what
Your Honour,
music?
it's video footage of me attacking the defendant. Excuse me?
Exactly.
Excuse me? Well, yeah, I called him a pedo. I gave him a trial.
I
I
blatantly discriminated against him on a religious basis and
exactly,
disability.
and he put me on. He had the audacity to get 2 restraining orders against me, and the defendant absolutely complied with the letter of the law continuously at his own
Mm,
frustration, you understand. But I didn't, Your Honour. I showed cuts
right.
with his image on. I spoke about gonna write it in an
They
attic
also
for
another
£309. And the judge is going to sort of sit back in his chair and think, are you taking the piss or what? Do you think I'm
Mhm.
a fool? But this is where we are.
It
This
is.
is where we are. So I welcome any prosecution. I said to the police when they phoned me up and said, "We've had a complaint," and I said, "Which one, Bill Cuthbert or Andy Jack?" He went, "Mr. Jack, blah blah blah." He said, "Let me hear your story." I said, "Well, I said, if you go into your computer," and I give him a crime, because they gave me literally a master crime number for the last 10 years.
Oh
And
wow.
oh, yeah, it's a master crime. I can't tell you what it is. I said, just go and look in there and you'll see all the backstory, all the different officers, long before Stuart Scaife, blah, 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 blah. And he said, and I said, I had to get 2 restraining orders on this guy, and he breached them multiple times, 800 videos and screenshots just to prove that. And he went, "Right, that's enough, Mr. Chapman." He said, "Thank you for your time. I'm sorry for disturbing you. Have a peaceful night, and we're not going to do anything."
Yep. Let me also highlight that what they're not thinking about, but Rob Reed knows this. To get this many videos successfully removed, you're going to have to go to a judge. Because if you file a DMCA notice through Rumble, I have the right to appeal.
I did.
And I will do that. But also, you run the strong possibility that if a judge sees this content, he will then say, I am referring this to a prosecutor because I'm now looking at criminal activity. And it looks to me like the real intent to remove this evidence is to obstruct
Exactly.
or pervert the
Exactly.
course of justice. So I'm referring this to a criminal prosecutor. That's why Rob stopped flagging me. He only flagged a couple of my videos, and it must have clicked in his brain. Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Or made a video telling them how to do so while he's doxing Dave and I. And by the way, Janet, they say Ryan is insane and hopes he will stop the process, assuming he will lose, because they can't rationalize how badly they're losing. All I'm doing is feeding them their own content. And let me tell you something. Watch this. Bring on the court case. I can't wait. I've been
Exactly.
waiting. They've been saying, "Oh, we're going to call your sheriff's department. Bring it, motherfucker." I'm going to go to them and say, this employee you've got? Oh, yeah, we know her. That's my cousin. They threatened to dox her.
Mm.
Hey, you see this name right here? He is a former employee for the Department of Homeland Security. And they threatened to dox him. Bring it.
It's bizarre, Ryan. It really is. I mean, me and my wife made a fresh complaint about 2 weeks ago. I can't tell you the crime report. I've got it all here. And
Right.
I told this guy, this policeman, I know his name, and I just said to him, PC, whatever. I said, "Look, I've made a complaint a couple of weeks ago about all of this, the AI showing my house burning down, and now they've just added to that. I've got people sent me lots of emails, from
Mm-hmm.
various members of this group about me and talking about others too. So it shows that they're inciting hatred and trying to
Oh,
stir up
yeah.
trouble behind the scenes at the behest of Cuthbert. So the question has to be asked, if they're prepared to go to these extraordinary lengths, and they are extraordinary lengths where it costs money, time, court time, stress on both sides, what are they trying to hide?
Well, yeah, and that's what I will say all the day is long. Everything from the evidence I've collected points to mens rea, which in the U.S. court system means a guilty mind.
Mm,
Something isn't right here for them to go to these lengths to try to bury evidence, pervert the course, or obstruct the course, or obstruct justice this much.
mm,
And again, Rob Reed, when I had Brett Keane on here and he was talking with me about, the Rob Reed stuff, Brett reached out to Rob and said through email, I'm going to give you an offer to debate Ryan on a neutral panel. Rob Reed responds, hard pass.
mm.
Hard pass, huh? Oh, you don't want to debate, do you? Because you know what's going to happen. Well, that's interesting. Why would you be scared to debate me? Hmm?
I don't want to debate anybody because it's just a futile waste of my time. Like, the thing with Cuthbert and all of these people is I clearly show their hypocrisy. I've been doing it for 15 months. And they just double down with 10 lies. You expose one lie and they'll say 10 or tell 10 more lies. And it's just a waste of time because you can't reason with criminally insane. So it's a pointless effort. But the point of, I don't know about your channel, Ryan, but mine is to show normal, rational thinking people that see this, and people are seeing it. You know, as I mentioned in your other thing, I had Lee here the other day, who's a massive YouTuber. And
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
just telling him while we were working away on his little camper van about all the shit they've done. He said, "You've got to be kidding me." And we sat having cups of tea in my front living room, and I showed him some of this stuff, and he was horrified. You know, and he knows BMW Javo, a massive YouTuber. He knows Liam Tufts, who just recently interviewed, what was his name? Charlie Veach. You know, he knows all of these people. And, you know, if they keep doing this shit, I'm literally going to, you know, let loose the Kraken for real this time.
oh yeah.
And, you
Good.
know, if that's what they care more about this fantasy world they live on YouTube and social media than what's in the real world, well, that's where I'm
Oh
going
yeah.
to destroy them. That's where I'm going to expose them.
Well,
I'm going to do it fairly, lawfully, and, you know, justly. And they hate that. They hate that. So they have to invent these stupid little things. Oh, look how he was getting personal, and he, you know, he has this hate inside of him. Yeah, well, who installed that hate? That's a natural human emotion. If somebody hurts you and continues to hurt you, you're going to hate them, aren't you? What are we supposed to love our abusers? Well, that might be the Christian thing to do, but as they've mentioned over and over and over and over again, I'm not a Christian. Apparently, Bill, I'm a warlock. According to one video, Rob Reed, I'm the devil, literally the devil. Or no, sorry, I'm the devil's living in my house with me and
oh,
my
you're
my
also the deistic ghost hunter and motorcycle.
deistic ghost. You know,
And
and
look, I don't have a problem saying it because I've already said it. The purpose of the Super Troll archive was similar. But where we deviate is that it was all about putting these people on notice as I have collected evidence. And I've done a very good job of that because I've collected the best possible evidence. We call it in America prima facie, meaning in your face. You cannot deny that X person did Y on this strain. And I now have publicly or privately, because that's the thing. I didn't put all the videos up. That doesn't mean I don't have them. I've got the entire James Rory channel.
yeah, yeah, so have I actually.
And that's been the point of this. It's been to collect evidence, to demonstrate patterns, and to defend both myself and then others. Because what was funny is as I began documenting, independently of Dave, mind you, is that other people started getting slandered. And at first I thought, well, that doesn't surprise me, but it develops a pattern. Maybe I should grab this. And over time, it's made it to where Bill Cuthbert can't stream anymore. I wonder why. Could it be that people keep fighting really bad with Bill and they keep bombing him behind the scenes with all this stuff? Bill, you said that was Thick Shades and that was you. So I've been very plain. It's all about evidence collection and not just clearing my name, but the names of other people.
Well, that's it, and hopefully this will protect people in the future.
Yes.
It will alert them, and perhaps they won't have to endure what many of us have had to endure because, this so-called Christian message that they claim to be putting out there is nothing of the kind. It's the total and complete opposite, if you want my opinion. I mean, they called Janet a witch and all of this. These
Yeah,
people,
they called her Jabnet the Witch, and
oh,
Ben has
yeah.
been.
The
all
thing
this
is,
crap.
you got Brickner and all of that. He was in that hangout with Cuthbert the other night. I just can't believe they're stupid enough to put that shit out there.
I
But
know.
saying that, I'm demonic. These people wouldn't know demonic if it, jumped up and bit them in the ass, but I do. These people haven't been into a coven's temple at midnight on Samhain and disturbed literal satanic rituals. I have.
Mm.
They wouldn't. They don't even leave their computers, let alone their living rooms. Bill Cuthbert has spent the last 15, 20 years in that stupid little rat hole bloody room making video nasties about everybody over the slightest little thing. And the stuff that he puts out, as Bob has highlighted multiple times, is so fucking juvenile.
Completely agree.
But you can't reason with people like that, and I'm not going to try.
as I said, I'm probably going to just put a restraining order on him. So he has to come down to Canterbury or whatever. If he's, special needs, maybe I'll have to go up to Colchester. And they're talking about my nephew recently, bringing his name up. I know who sent him an email because I've still got the email in my inbox. This is, I've got screenshots from Rumble last year and videos where Andy's calling Bill a cult leader, and he was manipulated again. He says I was manipulated and used by Bill and Dave, and I'm sorry and all of this. And then fuck me, 5 seconds later he's doing the same shit again. So what the hell's going on? Why can't he just be a man and say, go fuck yourself, Bill, you're not going to control me anymore? Because I know you're listening, Andy. They made a fucking mug of you, and you've done it willingly. It's cost you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and stress and all of that, traveling up here and down there and all of that shit. And he's laughing at you, and you're too fucking stupid to see it. You're just a tall Andy. I was the real deal. Here's the thing: all the stuff I've got in my inbox, I was saying to him, and he knows this is true. Stay away from them, Andy. Yeah, I will, Dave. I'm not joining team, but I'm staying away. I'm going to have a peaceful life, blah, blah, blah. 2 minutes later, he's back doing, and then I find he's doing all this shit behind my back.
How old is your nephew, Dave?
Sorry, Bob?
If you don't mind me asking, I'm not trying to pry. How old is your nephew?
My nephew?
Yeah.
The one he's talking about, he's in his mid-40s now.
Oh, right. Oh.
And he's bringing him into it, and he really doesn't want to be doing that because he's a fucking handful. I'll tell you something about this lad, right? Because he's married to a lovely gypsy girl. He's married into a gypsy family. You know how they deal with things, don't you? You know how they don't go to the police. They don't go to the police. And there was a dispute quite a few years ago. It was over something, and they all met up in this field, and it was my nephew, and it was supposed to be this one other gypsy family, and they were just going to get to it, and violence ensued, and my nephew was beating the crap out of this guy who was quite an handful himself, and then there was about 8 of them, and then they started firing ball bearings through catapults at my nephew. He got a punctured lung. He got ball bearings in the head, and he kept getting up. And then they laid into him. They beat him down, and he kept getting up and hitting back. Right, it's unfucking stoppable. Eventually, he ended up in intensive care for quite a while. But that's how ferocious he is. But he's a good lad, and that's why I haven't gone to him. I could have, I said this to Andy years ago. Well, a couple of years ago in email, and I know he sent that to Bill. I said, they should consider themselves lucky that I haven't chosen to go down that route, because I don't believe in that. But if I went to the lad and said, look, this and this has been going on for 15 years, I wouldn't be able to stop him. He'd be up there. He would be up there because he's done it to me. He's done it for me before. When I had my broken leg, I was going to put this in the book. Well, I did briefly. When I had my broken leg, there was a nasty little bunch of bastards that lived around here that used to terrorise all the old folk. And just before my accident, I moved back to Canterbury, and this little bastard, I won't mention his name, there was about 20 of them, and they used to terrorise all the old folk, vandalise the neighbour. They literally run the place. They called themselves at the time the Torment Gruesome. And I just came back to this place for the first time in about 5 years, and I had this beautiful Reliance scimitar that I just had resprayed, and I was parked it on the drive here. I was talking to my dad. He said, he's a little bastard over there. He said he beats people up, all the old folk. And he was playing cricket, playing with a cricket ball and a bat, and he was bouncing this cricket ball off of people's cars, and it come close to my scimitar, which is fiberglass, and it just been resprayed out, gold-plated badges and everything. And I just walked over to him, and make sure you record this, Andy, because it's all on the police record. And I walked over to him, and how old was he? He was about 17, and he was about 6'6", big lad. They used to call him I can't remember what they used to call him. And I said to him, "Oi, I've heard about you." I said, "You see that ball?" I said, "If that hits my scimitar, see that cricket bat, I'm going to ram it down your throat so only the handle's sticking out." And he went, "I'm going to get my dad on you." I went, "Come on then."
So I stood out there. No, this is all true. I stood out there and I waited for this fucking brat. And as it turned out, his old man was all right, but his old man was a big lad, and the three of them come across with his bloody horrible wife and this little arsehole. And I just blew a head gasket. No one's seen the nasty side of Dave Connell, right? I'm not much. I don't look much, but I don't give a fuck. And I just fucking kicked off. I went, come on, you fuckers, like this. And his dad, who was a big tall, he was about 6'6". He just sort of looked at me in horror, and he just said, "Come on, we're going home," and walked away. So that was the start of it. And then, of course, I had my motorcycle accident. Yeah, one day, just before that, where he was terrorising the whole neighbourhood, I was hanging around with a lot of bikers because, as you know, I'm a biker. And we used to go to the Ace Cafe at London and Chelsea Bridge, and I got talking to all these fuckers, all my mates, and I said, "Look, there's this horrible little bastard that terrorises the community. He even shot an old lady with her shopping with an air rifle. This little bastard."
Oh,
Yeah. So I came down this road at 12 o'clock at night. I'm not joking, with 150 bikers outside his house doing burn ups and wheelies and revving the fuck out of these. And he looked out his window and he was just sitting there shaking. And I thought, that'll teach you, a little bastard. You want to know what a real gang's like? I'll show you. And that was all right.
There's your Gary Glitter clip, Bill. There's your Gary Glitter clip. Go ahead and use that for your Gary Glitter clip.
Yeah. Anyway, then I broke my leg, of course, and this little bastard grew a set of balls. And we went through hell. I got my Land Rover Discovery paint stripped and also I had to put CCTV up because I had my leg in an Elizarov frame. I was swimming in drugs and morphine and I could barely walk. Then he grew a set of balls and he came up to my doorstep and I'm like on crutches. He said, "Come on, Sharon, I'll fucking fight you." And it got bad. They were threatening my wife when she was going down the shop, 20 of these little bastards. Because he thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm never going to walk again. He's vulnerable. And then we'd had a family dispute which went on for like 15 years with me brother and all of that. And that's what sort of brought us together. And Alison went up to spoke to this lad, my nephew, for the first time in like donkey's years and just said, it's terrible. What he did next, I love him for, and I will never forget what he did for me. I'm sitting in my front room with my frame on my leg, and there's a knock at the door, and there's my nephew and this fucking piece of shit thug, and he's sitting there, and he's literally got tears in his eyes, and he's saying, "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, Dave. I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again. I didn't mean to do it. I was scared of you." Blah 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 blah. That is what they're risking. But the thing is, I won't do that to him because I don't have the right to involve him. But when they're posting his name and if going by their history, if they're going through Facebook accounts and taking pictures and he gets wind of it, there is no safe place that they will be able to hide.
Certainly right.
Well, let me also.
Yeah, but the thing is, Ben, I don't want that to happen because we've already got one of our family. Bob knows one of my extended family, right, is now serving life imprisonment for stabbing a man to death. It was drugs. It was drugs. They're extended family, you understand. They're nothing. They're there by marriage sort of thing, and that's two lives ruined. All right, the one who's doing life and the one.
Bill did a video the other day. Bob shared me the link, and it was whilst I was live. And the video tried to share. So he was preaching, so-called preaching, in 2018. And there was a picture. There was a man that was walking by as an innocent bystander with glasses on. You see it in the corner of his video.
Yeah, I saw that. That's nothing to do with you at all, is it?
It's not me at all. No, and
that's a video from about 10 years ago when he was street preaching in Colchester. I've got that.
And I wasn't there. And he said, "Well, are you here then?" But he's trying to play dumb. He's trying to play a game. He's trying to confuse me to say, "Well, I didn't do that to you." You do know, Bill. You need to seriously own up to your crap. You did do that last year, not 2018. That bloke had long hair in a ponytail. I don't have long hair in a ponytail. Bill, you know what you did. And then as soon as I mentioned it on my stream, said I had evidence, the video got deleted. You're in the wrong, Bill, and you're going to be proven such.
Well, the thing is, right? Yeah, that's just ridiculous. But as Ryan has said previously, they believe their own delusions. They convince themselves that they're right. They're mad. They're fucking insane. Bill is the true church. Praise I am has seen the Holy Spirit twitching in curtains. He was probably masturbating so hard the end of the bed was making the fucking curtains rock. He was probably on Pokemon.net tossing off or something. But the thing is, Bob said it perfectly. I've got respect for Bob because he's an old lifer and he's towed the line. I get it, Bob. I know you got anger issues and they try to push your buttons effectively at times, but I get that, Bob. Right? You've done your time. You fucking paid your debt to society, and they're bringing all that shit back up over and over again. But the point you made the other day, sooner or later, Cuthbert is going to do it to the wrong fucking person. And I
Yeah.
suspect that is why he was driven out of his original place in Colchester. Maybe he's a supergrass. Maybe he's something else. I don't know. But something has to be pretty bad when people are threatening to burn your house down. They're slashing your tyres to the point you can't go out in your garden. You know that, Bob.
Knock your head in with a hammer.
Trying to kill you with a hammer in the street to the point the police are involved, or little old ladies walking up the high street suddenly screaming and shouting at him. Bill was not originally from Colchester. He's from Suffolk way. That's where he's originally from. I used to know a guy quite well that lived in Ipswich. I broke off contact with him, 20 years ago. Otherwise, I would have put a few feelers out about him. But, the thing is, they're doing all of this in public, in full public view. They're going around, slandering people, trying to get people killed by doxing them, calling them paedophiles when they're not. Ryan is not a paedophile. No. Bob is not a paedophile. Ben is not a paedophile. I'm not a paedophile. And I don't believe a word they say about Smokey Saint. All right, Smokey Saint's a foul-mouthed fucker, but most of them are too.
Well, let's also highlight, though, the significance of what Rob Reed did. Rob Reed claimed that Josh Herbell, who is Smokey Saint, filed an Alford plea. Then he claimed that it was Smokey, not Josh. The problem he did by saying that is, I don't care who filed the plea. The fact of the matter is, if that's true, you have now made two separate people, two separate legal entities. So at that point, it's less relevant who filed what. It is relevant that if Josh Herbell is a convicted felon, and you are accusing Smokey of being that while admitting he's a separate person, you've slandered the piss out of Smokey.
Well, exactly. I don't know anything about all of that. I've heard it vague, and the thing is, what I do know, and worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario, if that actually is Smokey, as GY6 said, and as I said to you last time, I was quite surprised. It is the Christian thing to do, to forgive what he's done. Everybody can make a mistake at some point. Bob's made big mistakes. He's paid for it. Well, doesn't that apply to Smokey Saint?
Really?
From a Christian perspective.
Have where he said that?
Yeah. It's on a. Oh, I'll have to go and find it. Yeah, he said it in one of these things. That okay, he's done what the court asked of him. And because the Christian community should, say blah, blah, blah. And he goes on to say, but there is a but with GY6. He doesn't see what he does.
Of course.
He's being foul-mouthed. Well, you can't change people's personalities. At the end of the day, Smokey Saint is what he is, just like Bill Cuthbert is what he is. This is what they do. Who are they to judge? And I'm just saying, worst case scenario. I don't know enough about this. So what? He fucked a bit of, he humped a bit of jailbait 20 years ago when he was a young, foolish man. I know loads of people that have got caught in that situation. You know, I was a disc
Yeah,
jockey
but
for
the
like
girl,
40 years.
but Dave, it's Ryan and everyone. I'm not. What from what I've seen, I've got to say this because what I've seen, what I've researched myself, because I had to find out. I'm not going to take Bill and all them words for it.
Mm.
And when I see the picture, obviously it's thin because it's the way the picture has been taken. No person's face is that thin unless they're in there. I don't know,
No, it
but
doesn't look like him
he,
at all. But the thing
but
is,
he's got
what have they done for the
yeah, but
last
he's
40 months?
hold on. But he's got no glasses at the time. He's still got the very same beard and everything, and he's got the head and everything. But the girl was 13 at the time, and he was away for 3 years. Just makes me wonder.
Well, anyway, at the end of the
Well, let's
day,
well,
it's
well,
nothing to do with me. That's the point.
right. But
All I'm interested in, Ben, is what they've done to me and to others, people around me, and they've done it by their own admission now, maliciously and falsely. So I find it very difficult to believe anything they put out because, as you say, you've seen pictures, right, Ben? But the thing is, I've watched them live on camera, on video, using AI, and I'm sitting in the hangout with them talking and stuff like that. So I don't believe what I see. Mr. Reed is more than welcome to send me. He's got my email address. Send me the case file, and then
No, I
I'll.
mean it's actually online. It's not what they've done with the AI. It's a real
Is it
person with a real
well, yeah,
thing.
but
It's
Ben,
on public records.
what you have to factor in here is that it's Thick Shades. Thick Shades was the one who started all this. What happened was Brickner came into my old live stream when Thick Shades was on the panel, and I believe he did it knowing Thick Shades would jump all over this shit, which Thick Shades did. If you go to Smokies and listen to them break this down, there's a massive case file that if you ask Will Kincaid, he'll give to anybody. The inconsistencies don't make any sense. Like Rob Reed, let's talk about Rob for a second. Rob will claim he's got all this evidence. He's got flight logs. He's got jewelry purchases. He's got hotel records. And if you go to Rob, like I've done privately and publicly now, Rob, where's the evidence? He can't produce it.
okay? Let's address the massive elephant in the room here. All right. Um, they're all saying you talk to Smokey Saint, you're a pedo enabler,
I was about
right?
to go there.
Yeah, so Andy went in there and they were talking about. We've all got that. I think it's up
Mm-hmm.
on Basement Dwellers channel, and I've got it. Is
And I've got it.
Andy's in there talking about golf clubs. They're taking their shirts off and they're
Oh
being all
yeah,
friendly. And but
friendly and buddy, and all getting
he's not a
along.
pedo enabler, is he?
That's
No,
true. That's true.
we've
That
got
is
another
true.
stream from 2020 where I'm in there with Brucifer and GY6, and everything was
Exactly.
fine. And I,
The thing is, I just don't want to be involved in all of that shit. But the trouble is, when you got Thick Shades, you got Cuthbert, who's fucking obsessed with me, as
oh
well
yeah,
as Andy Jack. I have to, as Alex Botton said, I have to. I didn't ask to be drawn and dragged into this. I had no choice in the matter. Ben, I came to YouTube in 2010, fucking terrified out of my wits because a staunch atheist, womanizer, asshole like me experienced shit that I would have condemned anybody for
Yeah.
previously. Not just me, but 6 other people with me, including, I've mentioned this, nobody's checked him out. Go and check out Lionel Fanthorpe.
I
George
did.
Norrie, coast to coast. This is the top scientific paranormal researcher on earth. He's 90 years old. He almost wet his pants with excitement when I took all the videos and the EVPs down to Wales. I drove to his house in Cardiff. I filmed stuff in Cardiff with him, with my wife. And do you know what he said, Ben? On camera. I used to have that. What, Dave? I've been a scientific paranormal researcher for over 50 years with my wife, Patricia, right?
Oh,
The hell is
Bob, you got to mute. Okay, I'm going to mute Bob because he's
Yeah, okay.
apparently
And
not
he
paying
said,
attention.
I got it. He said in his 50 years career as a scientific paranormal researcher, this is a TV celebrity, by the way. He was on with Jamie Theakston with Forbidden History a few years back, just before he retired. He had his own TV show, 40 and TV, which was huge. They're just re-releasing that. He said, I've never seen anything as astonishing and obvious, proof of the paranormal as what David and Alison have brought me today. I put that up as soon as I got back on the old Fortean channel that I used to have. And that's the channel that Thick Shades, Jonathan Turton, Roger Bright, Bill Cuthbert, and all those bastards flagged down. And I lost it. I didn't even have a hard drive to back them up on. And I lost so much stuff. And I'll never forgive them for that. Because I recently lost my father-in-law, who was a good, decent, honest man. A ship's bloody officer in the merchant navy and all of that. And it's gone forever. I hate them for that. And they wonder where my hate comes from. You got people flagged the shit out of it multiple times. Why do you think I've got all my stuff on Rumble, Ben? Because they want me on YouTube to play the flagging game.
Yeah, they kind of sort of know how to do it on Rumble. That's funny, Illuminati. Bob had a Calvinistic episode. But the thing is, there is an argument to being made about Rumble, and it's because the content is so bad, I couldn't put it on YouTube. And it's a miracle.
Look at that image. I felt really uncomfortable with the image that Thick Shades made of Rob Reed. It was called the James Rory, not the Rory, Rob Raw channel or something. And I alerted Rob
Reed.
Yeah, Raw Reed, that was it. And he simulates Rob Reed sodomizing a child.
Yes,
this is the mind. And and at the time you had Andy Jack, you had Bill Cuthbert cheering him on.
And the weird thing is, we've shown that. I showed that to Rob. You showed that to Rob. And if you bring it up to Rob to this day, well, I don't remember that.
Selective memory.
Exactly. That's what I said the other day. Exactly that. Because it makes them look bad. This is the thing. They all claim to believe in Jesus and the judgment throne, yet they seem to think that they've got a license because they've believed once in their existence that Jesus is Lord, and they're going to over. But the trouble they don't get right. Here's the thing. They can't. I mean, they was talking about taking the piss out of my PTSD, which you've seen, Ben, is real. Being treated for it, yeah. The thing is, when you do something like that to someone, not everybody can just forget it willy-nilly. So, in essence, it's still affecting them. It's still harming them all the time. And then they're doubling down on top of that. So that victim, whether it's me or whether it's you or whether it's Ryan, is still being affected by that until the day they die. And apparently they're not going to be held accountable for that because it's for not forgiving them.
Forgive me for interrupting. Bob, I know you don't care for Illuminati land, but don't start that over here, okay?
No, Illuminati land's okay. He was only having a joke.
We're being serious here.
I don't find it funny.
Well, then, Bob, you're free to go. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. Just don't start that crap on my channel.
Just don't look at the comments.
It wasn't serious.
Just listen to audio. Serious. Just listen to audio, Bob.
All right.
Because this is serious. It's rare. I don't normally come on to streams, and I haven't done for quite a while. But this is a serious thing. This isn't, fantasy YouTube land. This is affecting people in their lives. I've already said that Thick Shade stole my website underneath my feet and destroyed my DJ company because I was just at the point where I was retiring. And oddly enough, this is where Disco Boy comes in, the massive YouTuber, because if you go to the Wayback Machine of my website, you'll see that Lee's up there and this young up-and-coming DJ. So they destroyed that completely. And not only that, caused massive embarrassment because I was on top of the Google list. All the other DJs, Ben, hated my guts because I was on the right top of the list. And there's a secret. Do you know how I got there? Trolls, Bill Cuthbert. All of them people, they were watching everything I fucking did and everything I had on my disco website, as well as all the rival DJs. And it literally rocketed me to the top of the Google rankings, and I got all the work. So I was on right top of the list, and they stole my website from out under my feet and turned it into a porn domain. They did the same to Andy Jack.
Yep.
I've put the video up there where he admits it, and so was Ryan, where he's with his wife, and he says, "Look, there's my cam cap."
He
And
pulled
guess who
out
got it back for him? Guess who got it back for him?
Rob Reed.
There you go. But he didn't get mine, did he?
No,
Yeah.
Rob Reed did some, I'm guessing, negotiating, and I don't know all the details of this, with
don't.
Six Shades back in the day, about 5 odd years ago, and got Thicky to, I guess, I'm speculating here, relinquish Andy's domain back to Andy. And when you watch the video I have from 2020, Andy pulls out his phone, pulls up his old CamCap website, whatever it is, and lo and behold, he allowed the domain to lapse. Along comes Thick Shades,
Whoosh.
and whammo, he buys it up, just like he did to your DJ Groove Machine site in 23.
Which I've got back now, and it took me a long time. When Thicky disappeared for a couple of years, I waited and waited and waited. And I thought, oh, I wonder. And it was available, and I snapped it up, and I'm never going to let him get that. And I don't even need it anymore. But these people are...
comment on screen, won't you, Ryan? That's good of you.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Anyway, look, shut your eyes, Bob. Put blinkers on, mate.
Well, Bob, you realize I do that.
Rule number one of this hangout: do not trigger Bob. All right.
Well, Bob, you realize
being triggered, is it?
you really, Bob, why are you hollering? Come on, man. I do that, Bob, because I'm acknowledging the commenter, but by doing that,
I'm going to drive up to Blackpool soon, and I'm going to take him for a night out on the town and get him really chilled out and pissed as a rat.
I predominantly do that, Bob, to acknowledge the comment, but also to create a record of the comment.
You don't have to explain. I understand that. It's just that, I mean, I don't like getting angry. People do sort of annoy me. But, the thing that annoyed me the most is stupidity.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean? I'm not.
Unfortunately, the world is full of it, Bob. Wherever you look, you're never going to... I doubt if you'll ever be able to go anywhere other than your room and not come across a stupid person.
I realise I'm not the sharpest tool in the box, but I'm definitely not stupid, and I can't put up with stupidity like what's coming out of Bill's mouth and other people.
I know.
Well,
here's the thing. I just want to.
When Bruce came into Ben's the other day, I couldn't stomach listening. I'm muted for about an hour and 7 minutes.
I just beasted him. You missed the best bits.
It was so good.
Beasted him.
It made me. When I watched that yesterday, and I just about fell over laughing. Like, oh my gosh!
Yeah, me and my wife were sitting here, taking the piss out of him. He's an idiot, and his lies. Well, I've proven that he's a liar, and that's just the way it is. But sorry, I lost my train of thought there. What I was about to say, this is all very serious when it starts interrupting people's lives.
Yes,
I lost my job. You've seen the report from my job.
I have.
And the reason for that, because I can't, I have to take bloody Valium just to keep myself from getting angry. Look at the way Bill reacted to this Smoky Saint thing. Yeah, it was wrong. I get that, mocking his daughter and all of that, or whatever he was or he wasn't. I don't care. But Bill's reaction was totally disproportionate. I mean, for crying out loud, they put Amazon reviews on my Amazon page in my deceased father's name. Did you hear me ranting and raving and screaming that I'm going to cut people's throats out? No.
Well, and by the way, Dave, and you watch that full clip and not just the partial clip that Praise and Bill put out there of the 2022 Bill blowout at Smokey. Yeah. Bill screws up in that clip, and he admits he wasn't with his daughter. He wasn't tending.
Well, I know that, and he's not the only one that. And I'm not going to start that because I've got no reason to do that. But
right. But my point is, while he's sitting there making these crazy comments about Smokey, he's also telling on himself. So they want you to have complete sympathy for Bill while he's unforced error, admitting because he's the father of the century. It destroys his entire narrative against Smokey.
Of course it does. And and when I've said these things, and I really do mean it, I know it'll upset you, Ben, but I really don't give them two monkeys about their deceased relatives because they've mocked mine. They even mock my dog, and I look at that Ecto Vigilante video that Cuthbert made that's up on Rumble. It's childish, but he shows my German Shepherd and he talks about gonads and all of this. It's fucking infantile, but I didn't react. I just laughed at how pathetic he is. But anyway, I want to get back to this report. The reason I got dismissed, right, Ryan, was because I became very confrontational with customers. You don't know what it's like working on a forecourt with the biggest fuel station in the UK, and you've got everyone getting out the wrong side of the bed in the morning. Normally I dealt with that. But at that time, it was really kicking off and they were slandering me. And I was just ripping people's fucking heads off on the forecourt if they said the wrong thing to me. I think, fuck off, you cunt, sort of thing.
Right.
And it just got too much, and the doctor gave me Valium to calm me down because I had to fight this desire. You imagine this, right? You got to keep your emotions under control. Cuthbert just went fucking ballistic, but I had to contain that rage and the sense of injustice of these individuals daily slandering me, mocking the legal system. And I just had to fight this desire to go down there and pound the living shit out of the pair of them. You try living with that every single day for, in my case, 15 years. That's going to fuck you up eventually.
Well, I do understand stuff about that. What I will say is I get it. I can completely get that because you cannot have with the public that kind of reaction. What the public wouldn't realize is what you had to deal with quite literally endlessly day after day
Yeah.
from this hate cult, predominantly from Bill, from Thicky, and from Andy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got that fucking idiot Brian Davis Jr. Yeah, I mean, what? I like guns. Yeah, well, you'd need a gun if you came near me. But he mocks the claiming that. What did I read the other day? He put up there that we're what is it? We're Moloch worshippers.
Oh yeah, he put up that we worship Molech.
What is he talking about?
He's out of his gourd, man.
He's got
completely
PTSD,
freaking
pussy. He's on the wrong medication. Shut up.
I got a clip of the guy trying to make a medical diagnosis, and I had to laugh because I just recorded, right?
Yeah.
You don't have any medical license or medical degrees to make medical diagnoses. Well, I wasn't trying to make a diagnosis. Dude, I don't have autism. And the autism spectrum is not the same thing as narcissism. The dim-witted fuck is so fucking stupid that he can't take 5 minutes to Google what is narcissism to figure out the difference.
I know.
But he's not making diagnoses. Like,
I didn't ask for any of this, but then again, maybe I did. I was very naive, right?
I didn't ask for any of it. I can definitely say this.
I came to YouTube with this revelation between me and my small group, naively thinking that we would be believed because it was such a shocking revelation to me. I was very materialistic. All I cared about was cars, boats, bikes, and women, most of my life, and money. But to receive that kind of revelation was earth-shattering, and I thought it would be received better than it did. Well, it was on my channel, but until, no disrespect intended, until the fundamentalist Christians came on the scene telling me, I'm going to hell because I'm a necromancer. But I wasn't well, maybe just for a short period of time, until I read my dear mother, she when she was alive, she witnessed some stuff, and she says, you need to read the Bible, Dave. And the first thing I got on, what was it? Oh God, I forget the chapter, and it talked about let none among ye be found, and that put the fear of God in me. Necromancers and people that can, talk to spirits and shit, and that scared the living piss out of me. And I naively thought that people would really believe my story and see the pictures, and I've still yet to send those pictures to Ben, because I have to be truthful with you, Ben, is normal people see it straight off and they're shocked and horrified, think, oh my God.
Well, you've sent
evil people see nothing. They see nothing. It's bizarre.
Well, Dave, you sent a lot of that footage and those pictures to me, if you remember. And it is bizarre. It is highly unusual.
Oddly enough, oddly enough, the only one out of that crew, back in the day, Jonathan Turton couldn't see shit. But you know Roger Bright? He said
Mm-hmm.
in one of the frames that Face Like the Sun, and that was a big YouTube. They'd done
I
a
remember
radio
that
show
channel.
on that. And Roger Bright actually said, "Damn, these things don't hide themselves, do they?" But there's a twist to that, because my sister, fumbling of the equipment, caught them off guard with the high speed frames. Party flash, one flash, but three high speed frames, and number three was shocking. But that's another thing, I naively thought that it would be received, and it was by all of the agnostics and obviously the pagans, and they loved it. And this Fortean channel was really picking up pace, and everybody was looking forward to my next video, where I had all of my family um, giving their testimony. But as soon as I refused to jump on the let's all hate Jan Boshoff
Mm-hmm.
bandwagon, I became a warlock, a witch, necromancer, and all of these things, and they've been doing it to me ever since. And it's just spiraled out of control. And then along comes Sebastian Dressen, who at the time I thought was quite a nice guy, like I did with Rob Reed. And he started batting in my corner saying, Dave, he had a go at this, John. I wish I still had it, because it was a fantastic video. He says, Dave sees these things for real, and what do you do, Enoch, to, blah, blah, you do this, do this, do that. It's not your testimony. And that's what they try to do. They try to take control of something. It's all about control, as you said. And they tried to control that for their own agenda, for the free grace. This proves free grace, blah, 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 blah. No, it doesn't.
No.
It just doesn't prove anything. And then he threw me under the bus. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And it's like history repeating itself. Along comes Andy Jack. I see a video. And it's out of frustration, you understand, because for me, an outsider and a newbie to the YouTube situation, I would never have dreamed of coming on YouTube in my previous existence, my former myself. Not in a million years. I wouldn't have the time to do those sort of things or devote that amount of time. But the revelation was so earth-shattering, shocking, and terrifying. I felt that it was a duty to come to the YouTube scene and say, look at this.
It was a fundamentally altering paradigm for you.
Not
It was a paradigm shift. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, and I understand why you say fundamentalist. I use the term radical or the term extremist Christians would attack that, not realizing, well, you have someone who's going from being a naturalist to a supernaturalist. He may not be a Christian,
literally
but
overnight.
that's a step down the line. What was that, Ben? Ben, what did you say?
I didn't even say anything.
Just briefly about me.
No, I didn't say nothing.
Oh, I thought you did. In 2020, I had enough Bill, and Dave will vouch for this. I had made a video on my old channel saying that Bill was one of the most dishonest people I ever met, fact, and I wanted nothing to do with him anymore. That same year, as Rob Reed himself documented on his live streams like Silence Kills, the hate group, they began calling me a pedophile. I called Rob Reed and said, well, Rob, I don't know what to do. Legally, isn't there anything I can do? Thinking, well, YouTube is a California company. I know he can't advise me about Louisiana, but he might be able to give me some guidance on maybe what I could do potentially in California. He told me what he told me, which is basically you can't do much. And that was the end of that. So he went from defending me until October the 31st, 2021. Bill Cuthbert goes live on his Ministry of Reconciliation channel, and the whole shit starts. He makes all these allegations that I'm mocking his daughter, which they've never proven was me. Rob Reed jumps in there and calls me a dick and a jerk, says I deserved it, and then tells them, when you commit crimes, I will represent you. Crimes are not crimes. And he then stupidly repeated this. I've got it on the archive multiple times, where he says to them, what you're doing is not crimes. Ryan's an asshole. He deserves this. And if Ryan tries anything legal, I will represent Bruce Brickner. I will represent Brian Davis. And amazingly, I will represent Bill. I will represent Andy. which he can't possibly do. And that's how it's continued to the present day.
Ryan,
Yes.
Dave, have a quick read of the private chat. Don't read it out, please.
I don't know what this means, but okay.
Yeah, I'll explain it when you end the stream. I'll tell you.
Okay, sure, fine. But that's the nutshell. And as you know, Dave, from the video they've twisted out of context for all these years now, the one I made for DC Clark,
Mm.
they clipped that video.
Oh no, they did. They didn't get the whole video anyway.
Yeah,
Only what's his name? Bloody Cuthbert, because I confronted him about that. You
exactly.
know, but that's been proven now because of all of the stuff that GY6 has done at the
Yep,
behest of these people,
yep, yep, yep.
threatening to contact your church. They've proven the point, and it's bizarre. It's how they.
Yeah. And
It's
well, the point I was
almost.
going to make is that the irony is the video was to alert DC Clark. I told the truth in that video.
I know you
Bill
did.
said some disturbing things in front of his kids, and it
Yeah,
bothers
well, he doesn't mention the fact that he's as I've said over and over again, and it just seems to be pointless exercise. Is let's look at what we know about Bill himself. His cousin accused him of that very thing.
Yes.
He denied it, and he got the dates wrong about this apology video. That apology video was about something a couple of years before that, because he actually says in the video when Trevor Vernon posted it, and it was about 2 years before that he was putting these allegations out. But the funniest thing, I think I've mentioned this before, because I got confused. I thought Trevor was talking about a cousin, but and Bill supplied
Hmm.
it himself on his community page. It wasn't my cousin; it was my uncle. I thought, oh, okay, then fair enough. But he's best buddies with Thick Shades, going back to the point to the time of Mimic Arises, who was talking about.
Yep.
I've shown the videos talking about porn domains, drugs, and all of this.
All the
And
way back to 2010.
Bill was attacking Mimica, and they drove Mimica off the internet as well with harassment.
Yep.
And they cloned his account, and they even attacked me because at first I thought it was the Mimica. I said to the atheist community, "Why is Mimica attacking me?" They said, "That's not Mimica. The real Mimica's a good guy." And that was a guy called Ash from Medway, not too far from here.
Oh, so they keep calling him this Rory guy, Rory.
What does that
That's not even
actually
the same.
mean? What are
I
they
don't
referring
know.
to? Raw? What does that mean?
Thick Shades was the one who started this Rory stuff, but Thick Shades would type out ROR, Raff out loud. And for some reason, he thought this was funny. I noticed that he would do that. So I'd throw it back at Thicky. PMSL roar, look at this stupid thick shits. He then got all defensive. Oh, you're so racist. Well, apparently I'm not, you're not racist when you do it.
The only suggestion I can actually make is what they did. I think I did put that up on Rumble. Is about 15 years ago when they were all teaming together to get rid of this almighty wind off the internet. They all signed like a petition
Yep. They
to
all signed
Google.
an email petition that they were
That's
going
the
to.
only suggestion I can offer at the moment from your side of the pond is all of you guys that have fallen victim to this individual group is just make some kind of petition and put it to Google in California, to their headquarters. I'll tell you what
Well,
I did do once, Ryan,
mhm.
and it did work when I took Uncle Sam channel down a couple of times. I went onto the Google Facebook page and just posted his offensive videos in public on Google's
Well,
Facebook page, and they went gone.
two things that I'm probably going to utilize. Brett King mentioned X, where you can contact agencies directly and contact YouTube employees. I'm liable to use that, but I've said it before and no one listens to me. I wonder if there wouldn't be a feasibility in suing Google, because if Google gets made aware through a lawsuit of what's going on their platform, it potentially makes Google liable because they now they cannot say they don't know. They would be forced to admit that they know what's going on the channel or on these various channels, and they would have to deal with it. Um, I'm not going to reveal everything, but I'm going to put it to you like this. If you go to law enforcement as yourself, there's a chance you could get blown off.
Mm.
It's very different, however, if a mandated reporter does it. And for example, a government agency could be a mandated reporter. To give an example, let's say, I don't know, the Department of Environmental Quality, which is the Louisiana state equivalent of the EPA, finds out through an investigation into an oil company that had bad fracking practices that they come across potentially illegal information, criminal activity. They're then going to have to go to the appropriate authorities to say, hey, we were investigating, this ABC oil company. We were looking into their fracking practices. In the middle of that, we found this criminal activity going on. You might want to investigate that.
Mm.
The-
The thing is, I did mention it. Maybe it slipped your attention. I'm a member of Reform. I'm a
I
card
know.
carrying, and I did write to. I'm still. The trouble is, he's such a busy man. I wrote to Nigel Farage, and I sent
Good.
all this stuff to him with the court papers and all, and I'm still waiting to hear back from him. I'm kind of hoping that he can lean on Ofcom from this side of the pond and do something about this. But the point is Nigel Farage is against the Online Harms Act, but there's a paradox here is because people are being thrown in jail for the slightest little thing under this current regime, he might be able to use that. It makes no difference how it comes to the attention of the mainstream, but he might be able to use that and say, look at this Mr. Chapman that suffered for 15 years the most evil abuse and nothing was done. I've got all the the recorded telephone calls over the decade with the police. Yet one little post talking about a migrant hotel, people get 3 years for it. He might be able to
I know.
use that. I've met Nigel Farage a couple of times. I know the lady that supplies all of the footage and the docs for GB News. I've met Mark White half a dozen. I know Mark. I speak to him all the time.
Cool.
So I'm thinking, because my brother Mick, who's a commercial fisherman, he also films stuff out in the channel and provides it for Mark White and GB News as well. I know all of those people. I know all of the reporters. Up until this point, I didn't want to bother them. The world's in a mess. The country's in a terrible mess, and they're so busy. But it's now reached fever pitch, and it's clear that these individuals are never going to stop, and all the time they've got air in their lungs. So I'm afraid this has got to be brought to the public arena. Hence, my friend Lee and all of his lot, they're watching. I'm not lying. They're watching everything that these people do, and they're going through everything they've done.
Well,
because it has to come to an end because people are being harmed.
Yeah, I agree. And Dave, the reason I haven't commented on that, I don't know the details of this, and I can't comment on the UK side of these matters. That's well beyond my realm of knowledge. You certainly can. It was better just to let you talk about it. From my perspective, I do have contacts with state senators. I do have contacts with high level law enforcement in the United States, and I've purposefully not reached out to those contacts. I have multiple contacts within my local sheriff's department. And I can go right to those same people and say, here is the list of the family names that GY6 put up, because I have a recording of that, threatening to dox you. And I didn't say anything, but if they saw that and then they saw the rest of what I have archived, they're going to be fucking angry. When these people get angry, they're not the types that want to go, knock your head off. They're probably going to start reaching out. Now, I've purposefully not done that, but the way this is going, I may just have to do that. However, we will see what we can do. And I say that to mean I'm not kidding about the restraining orders. I'm not kidding about the order of protection in Tennessee or the protection from abuse in Pennsylvania. And if they do violate that, they don't understand what's going to happen. It's not going to be you're going to get a fine or you're going to get told not to do that. You're going to drag your ass to jail. You keep doing it. So I'm at the point where I'm just about done with it. And I agree with almost everything you said, David. It needs to stop. These people are trying, or they're cowards. They're trying to use the internet and a poorly constructed slander campaign to harm people, to ruin their lives.
The amount of emails I've got printed off up in the loft, as well as on my computer and in my inbox to and from YouTube admin, where, they've done Dave Chapman accounts over and over and
Mhm.
over again. But the trouble is, Google is a monster corporation, but
Yep.
Ofcom have the power. It won't benefit me other than getting these people banned, perhaps from the internet, and they all use VPNs. We know that, and
Yes.
they're just about banning those in the UK, and everybody's in an uproar. You may have heard, when they accused Nigel Farage of being as bad as Jimmy Savile for being against the banning of VPN. So he's got the bit between his teeth. Now, of course, just recently last week, my mate Lee was showing me on his phone. He said, look, Nigel Farage just posted on Twitter that he apologised to Tommy Robinson after seeing his documentaries, that he was falsely branded far right extremist, and now they're doing the same to Mr. Farage. So he's got his hands full, and the political situation in the UK is a shambles at the moment. So I'm not holding out much hope that he'll take the time to read it, but I can go to my local area candidate and take it straight to him in the hope that
And
he can
well,
deal with that.
Dave, just a thought for you. You don't just have to go to the state bar. The U.S. Attorney's Office comes to mind. And I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I'm not going to advise you because obviously I can't. But you may consider sending some of this evidence to the attorney's office.
Mm.
And it's not to say that the U.S. Attorney's Office therefore has authority over the state bar. It's not quite how it works,
Mm.
but they could definitely investigate. And what's really interesting about this whole thing is that at no time did Reed try to stop these people. He
I
is
know.
not disassociated from them. Instead, he encourages them. I
Well,
can't
he
tell.
said himself, he said, I love this stuff. In a video I've got, I love this
Hmm.
stuff. He lives for that. I don't know. I just don't understand how people
Well,
get
what
off
I'm
on doing
saying
it.
though is there's that. I've also given some pretty serious thought because the thing about suing Google is that it would have a similar effect to what you were talking about. I
Mm,
hope you feel better there, Ben. Because what Google would do is now that they're aware of it, they would also have their IPs because Google's going to want that information. They're going to probably subpoena that from their side, and that probably would get them nuked that way. But the problem is nobody listens to me. I keep telling people, a lot of people have been hurt here. Kind of looks like we could get a class action going, but every time I mention that, nobody seems to listen. Maybe they don't understand the moment of that.
Well, the thing is, it's like all things, Ryan. No one wants to do anything until it actually happens to them personally. And that's true in many things. It's to them. A lot of people out there, it's just entertainment, but at the expense of somebody else, of course. And I dare
Right.
say this video here, you're going to have Thicky, if it's really Thicky. You're
Oh,
going to
they're
have
going to be
T-Wasted
making videos.
clipping little bits out,
Oh,
showing it
yeah.
out of context, blah 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 blah
I
blah.
don't care.
And I couldn't give a fuck. I just laugh because they're like obsessed with
Oh, yeah.
every
Well,
word.
what's so funny is when they do that, like when the Thick Shades channel made a dishonest edit of the stream I did the other day,
Mm,
they prove the mens rea, the guilty conscience. They when they make those kinds of statements, they don't stop to think, "Hey, am I incriminating myself if I do this?" They just do it.
mm.
And they're a perpetual evidence machine. All I have to do is stand back and record it, just like you've done for all these years.
It's just funny, isn't it, that they're incapable of creating anything positive. It's just beyond their ability. They simply cannot create anything of any benefit to humankind. So they just pour out what they are: poison, toxic, hateful. And
Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. One thing to mention about Rob, and you watched this stream because you were making comments on it, but you may not remember. In 2023, I invited Rob to come on a live stream, and I actually called him up at one point, at that time, around that time, to try to get him to negotiate. Look, you've screwed up. You've said things you shouldn't. Maybe I've said things I shouldn't. Can we, because presuming the guy is a Christian, you're a Christian worship pastor, we need to handle this as Christians. Let's try to get past this. Well, what he does instead is he comes on here and lies about the nature of hate crimes, makes a fake apology, and lo and behold,
Well, I
just a
mean,
year
look at your
later,
last stream. Look at your last stream
mhm,
yesterday, or the day before, where I'm sitting there, giving it to Bruce,
yeah,
and he says, "Stop doxing me." I said to him, I said, "Look, I'll do
nobody
your
does
deal.
this.
You stop doxing and slandering me, and I won't respond." And he refused. He
Well,
says,
yeah,
"I'm
and
not what."
you
He says,
notice,
"I'm not one of them." And then, literally that evening, he's in there with Thick Shades and Bill Cuthbert slagging people off, me included.
well, yeah,
So
and
he is one of them.
well, you notice also I highlighted that Brian Davis and Rob Reed are doxing me now on their platforms.
Doing the same to me.
Yeah, they're doing the same to you and me both. Yet Bruce doesn't say a word.
I know.
So again, mens rea, guilty mind. So you're only mad about the so-called doxing, and really, he made me laugh because last time he directly interacted with me, he made an admission. It was a mighty wind that put his information out there, and he
Exactly.
couldn't sue a mighty wind because they were in another country. Again, dumbass Bruce doesn't realize what he just did. I didn't publish that information. I'm not liable. The
Bruce is
court,
on Facebook, for crying out loud.
I
Just type
know.
in Bruce Brickner in Facebook and it's there.
Well,
Let me
yeah,
tell you how I found that. It wasn't through you, Brian.
I know.
Right? I was actually, because I'm doing a little bit of research on Almighty Wind, and if you just type in Almighty Wind false teachers on a Google
Yeah, they
search,
they
it
have
takes you straight to their site, and there's
yeah.
Bruce.
Well, I've posted it on my last stream because it was to
Yeah.
highlight that information's been out there for years, and it's their wolves section. The way I became aware of this was through a Forerunner story initially, but prior to that, I had a brick of jeweler's polish, and Bruce he said I had some, he had some brass he wanted to polish up at the time. So I said, well, if you want me to send it to you, I will. And if you notice, this was probably 18 or so. I sent him that and just went about my business. I didn't show his house. He showed his house.
I know he
I
did.
didn't, I said, I've never put that out there with malicious intent. But as I've gone looking, I realized his name's on YouTube, for God's sakes. He gets credited in an old 2014 video for guitar work that he did. There's the Mighty Wind website. So there's no possible way he could do that. He also gave me another gift, and it's on my on the Super Troll archive. I'll send it to you if you need. When he went last to Veckel's stream, he admitted the only reason Bruce goes into live streams is to harass people.
Of course
Oh,
he
so
does.
you're going to sue me for harassment, for defamation, and then I'm going to present to the judge, Your Honor, Mr. Brickner admitted on a live stream that he only comes in to harass people. He doesn't usually come in for other purposes. You're going to sue me knowing that I have that. You're going to sue me knowing that I have Bruce on live streams
They're not going to
admitting he's a
sue
dishonest
anybody,
person.
Ryan. They're
Yeah.
not going to sue anybody.
Oh, I know that, but I'm highlighting the absurdity.
I know. The thing is with Bruce is he's been riding this white charger for everybody and
Oh, I know.
anybody, and he attacked Almighty Wind. Well, if you're going to go after a cult, hey, I'm living proof of that. If you go after a bloody cult, you're going to expect to get fire back, and that's what happened with Almighty Wind, as far as I can tell. They went after them, on this holy crusade, and they hit back and put up a platform where they could literally fire back, and that's what happens. I don't know where this is going to end, but it needs to stop, because
It will.
the thing is, when you're doxing people, I mean, I think it was last week, Thick Shades changed that story again. Apparently, I distributed this picture just like Rob Reed did. Blah 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 blah. The trouble is, when
What
you're
picture now?
doxing people and calling them these names, if somebody gets killed, and it could happen quite easily, it could happen. Thank God it hasn't. But if it
Indeed.
does, these people are in serious trouble, and it doesn't matter what jurisdiction they were wherever they are, they'll be hunted down and dragged before a court on manslaughter charges, or
It's
and
similar
they
in the
don't get
U.S.
that.
It's similar in the U.S. because if something happens to me or to Dave or whatever, they're going to be a suspect because they've already shown the malicious intent.
Just reading something that that's
Well,
mac
yeah,
and
no,
cheese.
that's actually something the dude said. I'm gonna have my bounty hunters come get you.
He's going to send Dog the Bounty Hunter after you.
Oh yeah, and that's so funny, huh?
Uh,
Sophia of Athens. Yeah, Jill got really quiet because he wanted to tell me how to run my channel,
I
and
was
then
watching some of Mac and Cheese's videos, those music.
oh my
They're
god,
brilliant, aren't they? I love the one about Rob Reed.
oh goodness, those were funny. I have to admit, Mac, you didn't put a lot of effort into those because I can tell, you threw it together. You did a good job. Don't get me wrong, but those are so damn funny. And the funniest thing is they're so accurate.
Yeah.
That's just it.
The thing is, they all claim that they want peace and they just want to
They don't.
live
Oh
their
no,
lives, but they don't.
no,
By their own
I know.
actions. It's in Andy's case. Then stop. Jumping into bed with these guys who are attacking me. I said to Andy over and over again, I don't care who you talk to, Andy, as long as you don't attack
Oh,
me. And then I caught him attacking me. You know, singing Disco Inferno, referring to my house burning down, and that's how I became aware. Then I started
well,
noticing the mono and all of that, and he admitted that, and blah 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 blah. And then I get emails, from various people where he's, stirring up hatred. So he's only got himself to blame. If he hadn't have rattled my cage, I would have quietly allowed him to just continue on doing what he does, as long as he doesn't affect my life. But he can't do that, and he's only got himself to blame for that. So cry me a river. I don't care.
well, look at this. I'm gonna. Oh, I can't share this apparently, but someone named John Gisch or Schala came in my back panel and put in the individual private chat because that's a thing on EVMux. Quote: "Why do you defend a pedo, you muttonhead Goyan cocksucker?"
Hmm.
So here again, Counselor Reed, I know you're watching. Why are you hanging around these anti Semites? You're supposed to be a Jew. And now they're coming to my channel making anti Semitic slanderous comments. I'm curious, Mr. Jewish lawyer, why is that? Why are you hanging around these people? But Dave, I've appreciated you coming on and telling this, that, and the other, and you've said nothing but the truth. I want to emphasize one thing, and this is something that Bill forgets, and so does the hate cult. In the video I did for DC Clark, I said very directly in 2020, I hadn't had anything to do with Bill for a couple of years, and to that time, that was true.
Hmm.
You and I did not talk for several years.
No.
And you know that because I would go on Bill's channel to see, like, what are these guys doing? They're kind of sort of leaving me alone. I'd run into you over there.
Yeah.
I didn't really say anything. Honestly, I was kind of pissed off at you. I didn't want to talk to you.
I know. I get that. I understand because you actually said, Dave, you're becoming what you hate, and you was right. And the thing is, my reason for that, I think I
No, I
did
know now.
explain. I just wanted to live a peaceful life without having to go through court cases and being slandered. And for about 3-4 years, it worked. But I just started getting all of these private messages from Bill. Look at this, ha ha ha! Look at this funny video, and I'm
Oh, look
thinking,
at this. Someone's in my backstage. Show your face. You can read the crawler, right? Show your face. But Dave, I get it because I tried the same thing. I went to Bill last year and said, Bill, I did not mock your kids. But in front of Bill's entire family, including his wife, I said, if I did, then according to the Christian ethics in which I believe, okay, you ain't going to show your face? Get out of here, you anti Semitic piece of shit.
is this John Gishala guy?
Is that you, Brian Davies? Because it sounds a lot like Brian Davis based on what it's talking or typing. Yeah. You guys don't think I know who you are by the way you type? You don't think I know how to understand that? Yeah.
Great people they associate
I
with.
know. But I went to Bill and apologized over the whole thing. I didn't mock your daughter, but in the event I did, Bill, then I'm sorry. And he just wouldn't leave it be.
As I've said, and I'll say it again, I don't care about any of them. I really don't care.
At this point, I don't. I don't.
Just don't.
Well, you know, we're going to add this John fella. John, you're going to have exactly 5 seconds to identify yourself, show yourself on camera, and talk. If you don't, you're out of here.
Careful he doesn't porn bomb.
So he's not on the live stream. I can see him here. Who are you? Show yourself. Waiting. Okay, screw you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, you know, I'm not going to deal with this the rest of my life. I'm at the point with this where I haven't said everything, but there are avenues that are available to me I can take to have this dealt with. Oh, look, they're back again. Piss off. But what I'm not understanding with these people is they can't understand. I'm not kidding. I've never kidded about this. They don't want to stop. I am going to, as a citizen of these United States, use my legal right to defend myself. And you are all going to have to explain to a court of law why you've done what you've done. I'm done talking. You see, they're so stupid. They can't figure it out. Why would I record evidence? What's the point in doing that? It's not because I feel like it. And that's really all I got to say. You know, I don't know what else to say. It is really late now that I look at my watch. And I'm probably going to shut her on down. So, gentlemen, if you have the final remarks you want to make, by all means. And fake GY6 account, fuck you. Go jump in a lake, you little doxing piece of crap.
Yep,
If
pretty
that
much.
is
Andy,
Dave.
Bill, fuck you and your family. I give not one shit. Do your worst, motherfucker.
same.
Dave.
Yes, Bob.
If you stay in the stream, if Lionel let us, I'll explain that private chat comment.
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, I can hang
Just
around.
be advised, this guy keeps coming in here, and I'm not sure if I can block people on EV Mux yet. I don't
know even how to shut this thing down. Will it just keep running?
Well, I can shut it down.
Okay. Yeah, go on, Bob. I'll talk to you for 5 minutes. Go ahead.
So, no final remarks, gentlemen?
Not really, no.
All right, Dave?
How much worse it can get, I don't know.
Yeah, anything's possible with these guys. Have a restful sleep there, Ryan. Sleep well, my friend.
Yep. We're gonna shut this down, and we're gonna take this off air. So let me get rid of this troll.
Oh, a private chat. Yeah. Go on, go for it. I don't mind.
And I'm gonna go ahead and shut it on down. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all on the next.